Oh shit. Here we go again.
Alright. I forget where the fuck I'm at.
You bust.
Oh yeah.
You disrespecting my hood, fool.
I'm trying to fight Seath.
Number 9 large, a number 6 with extra dip,
Yo, you dropped the bomb on me.
Oh,
Guess we on
CJ.
the German side in this scene.
I was about to say,
America.
you're on the wrong side of history, boy.
That's the first time that ever happened to me.
Don't smoke me up. And I want that grass. Comprende?
Everything is transient. I'm passing through life same as every man.
I forget that dude's name.
Fascists
I loved him though.
Man, you jacked up. Man, what's this? Shit look ridiculous. All clean as shit.
What's happening, fool?
Why do I feel like this would actually just go so fucking hard? Oh no.
A number 7, 2 number 45s, 1 with cheese, and a large soap.
Grove Street for life.
We got a visual on the suspect.
Oh god.
You're in trouble now, bad boy.
Fuck, where?
Hell yeah.
What's the... Wait. Wait, no, I'm going the wrong way. Fuck, I just
Cool.
went in a circle. Oh god. I don't want to waste any of my fucking...
In the last few years, Ozempic or Mounjaro managed to make millions of people lose massive amounts of weight with seemingly only mild side effects. More than 1 in 8 US adults have tried the drugs, and for the first time in history, the country's obesity rate actually fell. At the end of 2025, the WHO added GLP-1 drugs to its essential medicines list for diabetics and released guidelines on how to use it for obesity. For the first time ever, we have a medication that reliably, quickly, and seemingly safely can make people lose weight, sometimes massive amounts of weight. But as
I don't even
with
know how
most
much
things
damage that
related
did.
to
I don't even think
nutrition,
it did that
health, and
much.
weight loss,
Fuck it.
these medications are controversial. There are many aspects to GLP-1s, but we'll focus on one today, the potential medical revolution these drugs could mean for obesity, one of the most deadly chronic diseases of our time that over 1 billion people suffer from and that remains largely unsolved and underfunded. It turns out GLP-1 drugs are the first effective medical treatment for obesity in medical history. The obesity trap. In 2025, more than half of Europeans were either overweight or obese, plus 1 in 3 children. And in many countries like the US, Mexico, Chile, or Saudi Arabia, the numbers are even worse. Today, this kills almost 4 million people each year, and if trends continue, by 2050, 1 in 3 adults on Earth will be obese, and half of humanity will be overweight. When hearing the word obese, most people think of the extreme ends of the spectrum, but this is not correct. It's not very helpful that the definition of obese is a bit vague because bodies are pretty different. So it can be a BMI of over 30, your waist to hip
I'm
ratio,
considered
or a body
obese
fat
by
percentage
Google.
of over 25% for men and over 32% for women.
I'm
In the
5'4"
obese
and I
is a
weigh
medical term
150,
that doesn't judge
and
how
Google
you
says
look,
I'm
but if you have an
obese.
unhealthy amount of body fat. How did we get here? For most of our history, food was scarce. So when our ancestors found a calorie bomb, binging on it was the best of ideas. The more sugar, fat and salt, the better. Our brains are wired to love these foods. They bring pleasure,
I don't know what
enjoyment
the
and
point of
mental
that
release.
even is,
This helped us survive in a world where food was the most important thing to worry about
Shoot!
each day.
Please.
And then the world
Shoot!
changed overnight, and suddenly our modern food environment hijacked our biology.
Why is it not shooting?
Food is a product now and has
That
become
only
cheap,
did- okay.
calorie-dense,
Oh
and
yeah,
hyperpalatable,
fucking
which means it's been engineered with addictive
Magic
levels
didn't really
of sugar,
do
fat,
jack
and
shit
salt,
too, bro.
making our reward centers go ballistic with joy. About half of the products in a US grocery store are ultra-processed, and many are labeled in ways that are deeply misleading, like the serving sizes on packs of chips. Marketing strategies like value pricing and constant food ads stimulate us
What
to eat
weapon am
more.
I using?
So most people overeat regularly, sometimes without even noticing. And this is very subtle. Most people don't get overweight because they massively lack self-control. They just eat a little bit too much over a long period of time. Just a small excess, like the equivalent of half a Snickers over your maintenance calories per day,
I
compounds to
legit don't
almost
even want
5
to play this
kilograms
fucking
or
game
10
anymore.
pounds of fat after a year. This is how most people get obese slowly.
Not gonna lie, this playthrough might be cooked. Is it the dude at the bell tower that heals the curses?
Bit by bit. Since being overweight is also shamed on top of being unhealthy, we tried to fix our overeating behavior with all sorts of, well, behavioral methods. The world is filled with diets and healthy habits campaigns, but if we look at the results, just telling people to eat healthier foods and to move more does very little in the real world. Most people gain back most weight they lose during a diet within a year or two, and often gain more afterwards. Often through little fault of their own, because once you do lose weight, your body's also working against you by trying to bring you back to the fat baseline it was used to. Really, the only reliable way to do it is a lifestyle change. Not a break from calorie-dense food, but a lifestyle where you eat it only occasionally or not at all. Which is not just very hard, but also feels like saying no to some of the best things in life. Finally, there's simply hunger, a really strong and hard-to-ignore signal from your body. How hungry you are is genetic, so just through bad luck, you may experience a lot of food noise and think about eating a lot. And to make things worse, in many people who get overweight or obese, their hunger signal becomes dysregulated. Not necessarily permanently, but even after losing weight, it can take a long time before your hunger adjusts downwards again. And this is exactly where GLP-1 drugs interact with our biology. Before we get there, let's fix something easier first. How we engage with the news every day. Our partner Ground
wonder
News
how
is a website and app
fire
built to help you
would
think
affect,
critically about the information
wait, I
you
think I
consume,
might have tried
a
that
mission we
before.
fully support. They curate news articles from across the globe, adding context on political bias, reliability, ownership, and summaries that highlight what each side is leaving out. You can even compare headlines to see how bias shapes the narrative. The same weight loss drug story might be framed as a miracle by some outlets, while others warn about harmful trends. Ground News also reveals blind spots, stories that only one side is covering, showing you what your usual news feed is
I don't
hiding.
even know how
As
much
information
fuck
bubbles
me.
are
I might
becoming
have
the norm,
fucked up.
thinking critically about the news is no longer optional, and Ground News makes it easier to do just that. If you'd like to give them a try, go to ground.news/nutshell or scan the QR code on the screen. Using this link gives you 40% off an unlimited access subscription and directly supports our channel. And now, back to losing weight. Your hunger is hormones. Many eating behaviors, eat now or later, chocolate or vegetables, are actually governed by an orchestra of hormones that are not within your control. You're not hungry in the evening because you decide to be or because this is when your body needs energy, but because your body releases certain hormones. And it turns out your fat is one of the major regulators of this orchestra. If you're overweight or obese, the excess fat is throwing your hormonal orchestra out of tune. This may make you more hungry or push you to overeat more, creating insulin resistance that causes type 2 diabetes and so on. We made a video if you want details. But there's one specific hormone that plays its tune quietly in the background, even in obese people. The glucagon-like peptide 1, or GLP-1. It's one of the hormones your body releases after a meal. It tells your pancreas to release more insulin to keep blood sugar in check and slows down your digestion to keep food in your stomach. And in your brain, it increases your feeling of fullness and being satisfied, curbing your appetite. These effects are usually modest. Once in your bloodstream, GLP-1 disappears in barely 2 minutes, its song quickly fading away. So, one day, scientists had an idea. What if we made artificial copies of GLP-1 that play the same song, but louder and much longer? A GLP-1 signal that stays in your body would boost insulin and silence appetite. The first artificial GLP-1 was approved in 2005 for diabetes and in 2014 for obesity, but the revolution came with semaglutide and tirzepatide, Ozempic and Mounjaro. Really powerful GLP-1 agonists that play their songs in your bloodstream for up to a week. They send out a loud and steady signal that dials down your appetite 24/7. You still enjoy food, but you feel full and satisfied much sooner, making it easy to not overeat. And since the song never really switches off, you feel less hungry throughout your day, making you eat less often. How intensely you feel hunger is largely genetic, so especially people who suffer from food noise, a constant urge to eat, feel a huge psychological relief from the drug. Finally, their body stopped screaming at them. Suddenly, you're dieting without expending willpower, without really thinking about it. It feels magically effortless. By changing your biology, a drug changed your behavior. But, is this a good thing? Miracle drugs. On the weight loss side, these drugs are incredibly effective. In 3 months, you can lose 10% of your initial weight. 3 months later, over 15%. And after a year, you may reach more than 20%, a level of weight loss that used to only really be achievable through bariatric surgery. In other words, GLP-1 drugs make excess weight melt away like nothing before. We can't stress enough how unhealthy obesity is, causing everything from diabetes to heart attacks and cancer. So the consequences for health are stunning. Treatment with semaglutide cuts your risk of stroke or heart attack by 20%. 17 months of tirzepatide crashes your chances of developing diabetes by 66%. They also reduce sleep apnea, improve kidney and liver function, lower inflammation, cut cancer risk, and may potentially slow Alzheimer's. They might even boost fertility, as obesity often disrupts hormones and increases complications during pregnancy. And there may be more positive long-term effects. Some of these benefits are a direct result of weight loss, but intriguingly, they sometimes occur regardless of how much weight has been lost, and some have been seen in patients who weren't obese to begin with. We don't know why yet, but it seems like turning up the GLP-1 signal is synchronizing the whole metabolic orchestra, restoring a balance between brain, gut, and body. And as if that weren't enough, GLP-1 drugs may also quiet other cravings. They seem to reduce the use of alcohol, nicotine, cannabis, and opioids. Large trials are underway to confirm these effects. If the results hold, they could become something unprecedented, real anti-addiction drugs. But of course, there are side effects. Most commonly nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and constipation. Not fun, but usually harmless and fleeting for the vast majority of patients. More serious stuff like pancreatitis, kidney problems, or gallbladder disease do happen, but for well under 5% of people. So it's pretty risky to take these drugs without medical supervision, and in extreme cases, they can land you in the emergency room. While these drugs are not really that new, since diabetics have been using them for decades, because now millions of people are using them, we might discover new side effects in the coming years. Apart from this, the main downside of GLP-1 drugs may come from their greatest strength, rapid weight loss. If you don't actively check what you eat, taking these drugs is just an unhealthy crash diet. Any steep calorie deficit requires resistance training and plenty of protein, or else you'll lose a lot of muscle along with the fat. That's harmful at any age, but especially after 40, when building muscle gets harder and the risk of falls starts to rise. So, while these drugs change your biology, they don't do all the work for you. Staying healthy still requires you to adopt healthy habits. In the end, the same is true for these drugs as is for any other diet. Without a lifestyle change, you either have to use the drugs forever, or you'll probably gain the weight back. After about a year, the weight loss slows down and eventually stops in most people. At this point, you usually stop using the medication. If you use that time to change your eating habits, you have a really good chance of keeping the lost weight off. But about 25% regain a significant chunk, and some 20% put back on all of it. So, for many, maintaining the results may mean staying on the drug forever. Is this a bad idea? Well, we don't know. The newest generation of drugs is just too new, so there's no long-term data. The first GLP-1s from 2005 haven't shown major issues. Based on what we know today, it seems pretty clear that living with obesity is much unhealthier than living with drugs. And to be crystal clear, this doesn't mean that these drugs are for everyone. If you want to lose a couple of pounds but are otherwise healthy and have no chronic disease, these drugs were not made for you. You really should go the traditional route first before you start injecting drugs. Using it to get to unhealthy amounts of low body fat is definitely not a
Start
great
injecting
idea.
drugs today.
In a nutshell, the best thing these drugs do is to remove
say
the
what I-
pressure of
or
intense
don't do what I
hunger and
say.
food noise, to give you a time window where you can change your habits. You still need to change your habits though. No drug can fix that for you.
Lies.
Conclusion and opinion. A recent study modeled what would happen if millions of US adults who are obese or overweight got GLP-1 drugs for life. In just 2 years, about 50% of all obesity in the country would vanish. Over the years, it would prevent 26 million cases of diabetes, 13 million cases of heart disease, and 5.5 million premature deaths, which seems like a pretty good thing.
You can't have that though,
And
because
new
then
drugs
how
that are
is
in
the
final trials
pharmacy
promise to work even better.
company gonna
Defeating
thrive?
obesity suddenly feels within reach. Right now, the biggest obstacles are actually supply shortages and high prices, which make these drugs inaccessible for many who actually need them.
Hell yeah.
Patents for semaglutide and tirzepatide will expire soon in many countries, and prices for them will collapse as a result. In the long run, increased production and plummeting costs seem almost guaranteed. So, should we just inject obesity away?
Yes.
Well, for now at least, it seems that there are few downsides, although please don't listen to internet videos and talk to your doctor before you make any decisions for yourself.
No.
It's also important to remember that while these drugs are immensely helpful, they are not magic.
Doctors
They
don't
make
know
a
what's
hard
best
thing
for me.
easier, but it still requires you to change your habits and
don't
put in
know
some
me.
effort. They can gain us the time we need to fix the root causes of obesity. But it does seem the future just got a whole lot healthier.
I didn't mean to do that, but whatever.
Our latest limited edition pin is here, kicking off the new Cosmic Time Collection. It's an homage to Halley's Comet, the cosmic traveler that's been visiting Earth for millennia. It only returns around every 75 years, but we captured it in a super sparkly rotating pin. Only 10,000 exist, and each one is individually numbered. Wear it to
How
complete
close
your
do I have
outfit,
to be
add
for
it
it
to your
to shoot?
collection,
Like, goddamn.
or make it the first piece of a brand new one. Over the years, we've created quite a tradition of these tiny sculptures, and you've loved collecting them. So, we decided to take it one step further. Meet the first ever Kurzgesagt figurines, small collectible scenes from the Kurzgesagt universe. If you've been around the channel for a while, these might look a little familiar. Mission Control, meet Duck, always ready for another trip through space. Never stare directly into a deadly ray from space. This burb learned the hard
wrong
way.
fucking way.
And whatever you do, never press the big red button. Get one or all of them for your desk, bookshelf, or honestly, your life in general. We had a blast designing them, packing each one with love and tiny details. Head over to our shop. We've put together a few deals for you. Get your special piece of Kurzgesagt now.
How about no? Himina.
We tend to begin our lives with a deeply unrepresentative experience.
No, we don't.
That of being surrounded by people who care to an extraordinary extent about us. We look up from the dreams and confusions of early infancy and may find a smiling face or two observing us with the utmost tenderness and concern. They watch us as a rivulet of saliva
fuck am I
leaks
watching?
slowly from the corner of our mouth and rush to wipe it away as if dabbing at a precious canvas. Then indulgently stroke the fine, soft hairs on our delicate scalps. They declare us close to supernatural when at last we succeed in pulling our first smile. The applause rings for days when we take our initial steps, giggle, totter, fall, and bravely try to resume our progress. It isn't just at home. At school, the best teachers encourage us when we find something difficult. They understand we might be shy. They're keen to detect and encourage the early, tentative signs of our particular talents. Then,
False.
of course, we grow up and we're inducted into a horrific reality. We exist in a world of astonishing indifference to almost everything we are, think, say, or do. We might be in late adolescence, when the point really hits home. We might be in a bedsit at university, or wandering the streets of the city at night on our own, when it occurs to us with full force how negligible a thing we are in the wider scheme. No one in the crowds we pass knows anything about us. Our welfare is of no concern to them. They jostle against us on the pavements and treat us as a mere impediment to their progress. We're tiny against the towers and brightly lit flashing advertising hoardings. We might die and no one would even notice.
Thank God.
It may be a stern truth, but we make it all the more so by focusing only on its darkest dimensions. We remain grief-stricken by how invisible we are, yet we cease to put this bracing thought to its proper philosophical purpose, that of rescuing us from another problem which is gnawing at us all the while, an ongoing and highly corrosive sense of self-consciousness. In another side of our minds, we haven't accepted the indifference of others at all. In fact, we know and suffer intensely from just how much, as we feel sure, others are thinking of us. We are extremely worried about how high-pitched and odd our voice sounded when we asked the waiter for a bit more milk. We're certain that the sales attendant noticed how out of shape our stomach is. The people in the restaurant where we're eating alone are undoubtedly spending considerable time wondering why we have no friends. At work, they're still dwelling on that slightly stupid thing we said last month about the US sales strategy. A person we went to bed with 4 years ago is to this day thinking ill of us in some powerful but undefined way. We don't really have any evidence for this, and yet it can feel like an emotional certainty. It can feel intuitively clear that our foolishness and less than impressive sides are being noted and dwelt on all the time by everyone at large. Every way in which we depart from what the world considers to be normal, upstanding and dignified has been registered by the widest constituency. To liberate us from this kind of punitive story, we may need to conduct a deliberately artificial thought exercise. We may have to set ourselves the challenge of examining how long we spend on the foolishness, or just existence, of other people. How we think and feel about other people we don't particularly know is perhaps the best guide to the workings of the average human imagination. To pretty much the rest of the world, we are the very same sort of strangers or casual acquaintances as we know and deal with in our own daily experience. And now here, the results can be surprising. Imagine that we are in an elevator, standing next to someone on our way to the 20th floor. They think they know that we disapprove of their choice of jacket. They think they know that we should have picked another one and that they look silly and pinched in this one. But in reality, we haven't noticed the jacket. In fact, we haven't noticed they were born, or that one day they're going to die. We're just worrying about how our partner responded when we mentioned our mother's cold to them last night. Or imagine it's well on the way into the last bit of a 2-hour meeting that we sense that a colleague's hair really is a bit different today, though we can't quite put a finger on how, even though they spent a small fortune on their cut and thought intensely about the wisdom of visiting a new salon. In other words, when we take our own minds as a guide, we get a far more accurate and far less oppressive vision of what's likely to be going on in the heads of other people when they encounter us, which is, in the nicest way, not very much. This kind of news is both very bad and strangely good. On the one hand, no one may notice when we die.
It's just the ego,
other,
bruh.
they're also
They ain't
sure
do
not to have
shit.
noticed when we spill some orange juice down our front or
God damn
do
it.
our hair the wrong way.
There's a
It's not
chest.
that we or they are horrible. Our lack of caring isn't absolute. If we really saw a stranger in trouble in the water, we would dive in. When a friend is in tears,
debatable.
we are sympathetic. It's just that, for the most part, we need to filter. Our everyday lack of care occurs for a perfectly sane and forgivable reason. We need to spend most of our waking energies on navigating and doing justice to our own intimate concerns. Once we've had to think about our relationship, our career, our finances, our health,
I don't
our
think
close
fire
relatives,
does any
our
extra
offspring, our
damage
upcoming
to
holidays,
these
our
fucks.
friends, and the state of our household, there's just going to be very little time left to reflect on the suddenly high-pitched voice of a customer or the outfit of a colleague. We are owed the upside of an otherwise
Maybe,
tragic
but
insight. We shouldn't just suffer
Kinda
from the
doubt it.
indifference of other people. We should, where it matters, properly reciprocate it. We shouldn't merely suffer from being ignored. We should accept the liberation implicit in the fact that we are being so. And then, in turn, we should embark more courageously on those situations and adventures where a touch
Can
of
I
foolishness
log on,
is
please?
always going to be
Goddamn.
a possibility, like the start of a new business, a romantic
Yeah,
invitation, or asking a question at a conference. We may fail, but we can believe with new certainty that almost no one
What the
will give a damn if we do. An idea that may, above anything else, help to contribute to our future success. Something which, as we now know, no one's going to much
Meta-loss.
notice or care about anyway.
At the School of Life, we believe that confidence is a skill we can all learn. Click now to learn more.
No.
Welcome back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? How you doing? Coming on sundown because today we're going to be talking about Spirit Airlines crooks.
Dude, Spirit's such a good
It's no secret
fucking
that
movie.
flying nowadays is more expensive than ever. Well, if you haven't heard about recent news, it might get even more expensive. That's because Spirit Airlines, the king of cheap airfare, recently shut its doors after 34 years of service abruptly. Couldn't have been more abrupt, more unprofessional. Couldn't have people over anymore. It's unbelievable. We were at
150?
MagicCon in
Holy
Las
shit.
Vegas playing Magic for the convention or whatever, doing yada yada yada, and all of a sudden there was just this like wave of hush over the entire crowd of people being like, hey, my flight just got canceled or my flight got delayed. Not even just because Spirit Airline, these aren't Spirit Airline flyers, they're everyone else being like, hey, by the way, this was a fucking seismic shift in the aviation world and people trying to get home. It shifted everything around, which they will course correct, but it's just it's unreal.
Just a moment's notice, they're just like, we're done.
I mean, imagine working there. You're like, oh, okay. Like, what the Spirit
There
Airlines
was, like,
and
no
its brand
warning?
are often the subject of harsh ridicule. And today we want to honor its legacy by looking at what made it such a giant piece of shit. From the ridiculous payment structure and chaotic flights to the Wild West environment they call customer service, Spirit is undoubtedly one of the most memorable airlines for many terrible reasons. I just hate the hidden fees. I flew Spirit twice. The first time I bought a backpack, silly me. That's a no-no. Gonna get charged for that. But then also they do things like, you want a snack? Well, of course I will. Every other flight I've been on, they give you what, a bag of pretzels? I wouldn't mind a bag of pretzels. And then you get charged with that at the end. It's just the hidden fees. You're lying to my face. Also, I was on a plane so old that there was welded ashtrays in the chairs.
Jesus, that's...
It was an old plane, and it smelled like it. It just smelled like age. It smelled like a retirement home. Why do old people smell that way and they leave that stench behind?
They're dying. They're rotting from the inside.
Is that literally what it is?
I think so, yeah.
Organs rotting?
Okay, it's not organs rotting. I think it's just old skin. Like,
But don't you, they'd clean it.
Well, it permeates. It's like, it sticks to the leather.
So, grab your boarding passes as we fly through memory lane to pay homage to one of the worst budget airlines to ever exist. And for those who are unaware, allow me to fill you in on what happened to Spirit Airlines. On May 2nd, 2026, Spirit Airlines officially closed its doors and landed all of its planes for the final time. This comes after years of failed mergers with both Frontier Airlines and JetBlue. People speculate that they closed their doors because
Sprint,
they were like going to
please.
merge. The people that are at the top were going to
God
get a
damn
huge
it.
payout. Shocker.
POV
But
in his
a
fucking mouth,
court
goddamn.
ruling said that they couldn't do it. So now I think that they were having a hissy fit, and they probably said, well, we can have a huge payout if we just fucking end it right
Is that
now. The final
me?
nail in the
That might
coffin,
be
according
me.
to the company, was the increase in jet fuel prices caused by the recent war in Iran. If you haven't heard about that fucking nightmare.
Basically, their business model
Thanks,
couldn't
Trump.
work anymore.
Yeah.
Like, we
Thanks,
cannot
Israel.
afford these cheap flights. I think, too, it was because people booked flights in advance, too, that they would lose money on the jet fuel.
Mm-hmm.
So
God
they just
damn
kind of
it.
cut their losses and just, like, refunded everybody. Which
Brrr.
sounds like you're still losing money.
The company had filed for bankruptcy twice in the past, but unfortunately, even if filed
Oh my
again, it would not be
God.
enough to keep itself afloat. Why do I not buy
Oh,
it?
God.
I just
How do I
don't
stop the
fucking buy
curse?
it. I feel like they're saving their asses. They're saving their paychecks.
Well, they were able to sell. You could have bought a Spirit airplane for like $500,000.
Well, let me grab the checkbook.
Fuck it.
How much is a regular?
Millions.
Oh, through the million. Well, like once again, am I getting a fucking welded cigarette ashtray plane? Because I don't want that.
Have you seen the Linus Tech Tip video where he justified buying his private jet? He was like, it was practically
Bro has
free.
a private jet.
Think about it.
It's a little bit of cash flow tied up, but we're not actually spending any money, which is so cool.
Yeah,
Oh, good.
I saw that, and then I saw the video of his.
Oh,
being
fuck.
Like,
Okay.
You kind of start thinking while
please
you're
don't.
working on your boss's third house, if you're ever going to be able to buy a house.
Yeah, that was brutal. It's free. Let's talk about these graphics cards. Did I ever tell you got mad at me? Like way back in the day. This is like channel was still pretty small. I did the Linus Tech Tips video. I thought it was funny. There's a baby in a blender.
I thought it was funny too.
And he's like, that's horrible.
It's pretty awful, actually. I basically stuff an infant child into a blender.
What's wrong with that?
I try to power the computer with the infant child juice.
What's wrong with that?
I think fact check. It's on a live stream. I don't know if he didn't say it. At least that's what I remember. That's probably what I've told people for 6+ years now.
But before we go any further, we need to thank today's first sponsor.
This video is sponsored by our partners at Factor. It's time to start eating better. Factor is the meal service that gives you the flexibility to stay active and stay on top of your eating routine. If you're looking to hit your nutrition goals and eat balanced, high-quality meals, look no further than
I need to
Factor.
remember that
Factor powers your
Heavy
day
Soul
sun up to
Arrow does
sundown,
91
nutritious
damage.
breakfast, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and now daily greens. A once-daily drink full of real veggies
I don't know how
and
much
nutrients
the
you might be missing in your
homing
diet. With Factor,
whatever,
you choose from
the
over 100
balls
different
do.
menu options each week. Plus, Factor has meal
Well, I'm probably
options like
gonna
Calorie
switch
Smart,
this to
Keto,
that.
and Vegan, and meals packed with protein. Regardless of what you choose, in just 2
I'm
minutes you
cooked.
can heat, eat, and enjoy. So it's easy to see why 97% of customers say that Factor has helped them live a healthier life. And the best part of Factor is that there's no prep work, no grocery lines, and virtually no cleanup. Head to Factor75.com or click the link in the description and use code PAPAMEATFB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box.
Ooh,
Plus free
dickhead.
breakfast for 1 year. That's code PAPAMEATFB50 at
Oh, God.
Factor75.com to get
Don't
50%
touch me with your
off
tails.
plus
I
free
don't think I
breakfast for
wanna
1
be in
year.
this
Offer only
area.
valid for new Factor customers with code and
I'm
qualifying
scared.
new subscription purchase. Thank you to Factor for sponsoring the video. Now back to the episode. Due to the sudden closure, thousands of passengers were stranded at their destinations or inside airports. As soon as 3 a.m. hit
don't
on
I
May
just-
2nd,
yeah, I
people's
just wanna
tickets
hug him.
disappeared.
Why haven't I
forcing
just
them
been
to
doing that
scramble
with
to
my
buy new
fucking
ones at
spells?
different airlines.
Ow.
Thankfully, most people received some form of refund for their unused tickets, which, once again, it's not like people are getting totally, but it did just completely. How many
Wait,
people
whoa, whoa,
have lost their jobs? Tens of thousands of people?
Yeah, thousands. Yeah.
Over 10,000. It's got to be. For a nationwide airline company? Come on. Almost instantly, all the infrastructure Spirit had at the airport, such as customer service desks, vanished when people needed
wait a
help.
minute, hold
Unclaimed
up, hold
luggage
up.
was seen locked in offices with people unsure
Fuck
if there was
this.
any staff left to return them to their owners. And while people are having a laugh about Spirit's demise online,
okay, that
it's sad to
doesn't-
see that
oh,
thousands
fuck.
of employees, over 2,000 of which being pilots, mourning the loss of a place that they saw as a home and as just a full-on career.
Damn, 2,000 just for pilots?
That is crazy. I thought that like usually the airport itself, or if you just were a part of some giant union or something, that was just like, all right, you're going here, you go here, you go here.
If I
But I
die,
guess it doesn't
fuck
make
it,
sense. I
whatever.
guess you would just be like, I work for this company.
No, I don't want to be cursed.
Fact check.
Fact check. Understood.
I'm not going all the way
Go
fucking.
become a pilot. Scary. up
If
there.
I get one hit, it is what it is.
Or
I'm not
do
going all the
become
way
a pilot
back
and be solely
to
to
get a
save
fucking
people's
thing,
lives.
whatever
Or
the
let your
fuck.
intrusive thoughts win. And
All right,
just never start doing it.
91 is what.
No.
Fucking.
This is a
I
wholesome
know
show.
what
That's why I could never be
fucking
a pilot.
curse thing does,
One
bro.
false move.
One false move. I feel like you gotta like really try.
Well, I meant that's a false in quotes. It's
Exactly.
intentional.
Uh-oh. My arm slipped.
Yeah.
Gone? I want to be like that guy who stole the plane and then he just decided to do barrel rolls with it.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I legitimately did not think I was going to be able to complete that.
Yeah. I've had so many dreams where I'm in plane crashes and I could, like, I'm all the way in the back.
Do you have it while you're on the plane
No,
when you fly?
never when I'm on the plane.
Let me tell you, I don't know if we've said this before, Nick on an airplane is like one of the most frightening. First off, he's like sleep deprived all the time. Okay? Cannot sleep in his bed. And the amount of times, every day at work, I say, how'd you sleep last night, buddy? He goes, Max and Teddy woke me up. And I'm like, okay. The second, which I would say arguably people say the most uncomfortable place to sleep is on a plane. Is that not what people say? That I would say planes and cars. The second his head hits a airplane chair, he's gone. I mean, you've never seen him have such beautiful restful sleep. To where, and then are you having these nightmares on those? Because you thrash. He thrashes a lot.
I've had nightmares, but not planes falling, yeah. But yeah.
I've gotten bruises on my stomach from where he's like thrown. He's like, And he'll do. He has a big fucking fat ass neck pillow. He falls back asleep like that. I've seen you buy it because we've been sandwiched between me and then like a stranger passenger. Literally sit there, they'll have like their iPad and they'll just be like watching like What Women Want. Mel Gibson on the screen. They're like,
that was a good movie.
Guys grabbing their wine glasses.
Yeah. Have I screamed on a plane?
Yeah, you do that all the time. Harry has said that. Harry room with you. Nick like screams in his sleep. I don't know why you do that too.
Yeah,
you have full on night terrors. I'm telling you, these people. It's not a joke. It's real. You go a whole flight of a guy screaming in his sleep on a plane, and then after you're done, to get up out of your chair and then be like, "Let me help grab your bag, Hunter." And I'm like, I don't really know this guy. Come on, Hunter.
And I take 5 minutes trying to get your bag out. Oh, it's heavy.
Hey, take your time.
Hey,
Excited
it's
to
me
Denver.
again.
Many former employees gathered outside their airports as well as Spirit headquarters in tears, hugging one another as they prepared to search for jobs at other airlines. And up in the air, pilots and flight attendants were holding back tears as they looked back fondly on their careers with Spirit, thanking the guests on their final flights, which is fucking so sad.
I was gonna say, do you think they had a guy do a risk assessment of like, if we break the news with our planes?
Oh, dude,
like
maybe.
Do you think anyone's gonna?
Dude, fucking maybe. You know, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah.
You never. I mean, an emotional.
wait,
like, I mean, but at the end of the day, do you think that they actually fucking
All
care?
right, 91. What does this do? If it would shoot.
Oh no,
Okay,
they,
yeah, true.
Someone definitely
Wait, I
brought
could
it up
just.
and they were like, "It's a risk I'm willing to take."
But if I hug, then he's just
If
gonna
anything, I'd be nervous.
175.
If
Yeah,
I
he's
was a
just gonna
pilot,
do
I'd
that.
be
Like,
in
bro.
headquarters.
Yeah.
But they ain't left yet. I'm in a 700-mile-per-hour tube. I will fucking find you. I'd give everyone parachutes. I'd say jump. They'd all jump. They fly out, and I do. Right into Spirit headquarters, dude. Fan edits have circulated online, mourning the company in their own unique way. The video showed montages of their worst moments: workers treating luggage poorly, passengers brawling, and employees screaming at angry crowds of customers, all over sad music, which I will say the juxtaposition is, it's whiplash. I feel horrible for the employees and like the touching things of people being like, holy shit, but then the customer experience side, it's just been like, it's been a wave of emotions is what it's been. With all this love and support, it shouldn't come as a surprise that people are now trying to resurrect Spirit Airlines just days after it was laid to rest. Some have started petitions and fundraisers to buy the airline so they can continue to enjoy cheap flights. The most popular of these fundraisers is a website called letsbuyspiritair.com, which has already raised over $337 million of their $1.7 billion goal. That's actually kind of impressive.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what? Is this a laundering scheme?
Do you think it's anything that has to do, well, one, is it any kind of tax write-off for already wealthy people to be like, well, I could get in on the ground floor of this thing? Because if it doesn't go, you get your money back, or you can count it as a loss.
Yeah, do you get part of the company?
God damn it.
You throw like 10 bones?
I don't know. I wonder if it's like a Kickstarter tier of like, the amount you put in dictates like the output you get, you know?
Probably that, yeah.
Something weird. $50, you get free flights for life.
Yes, sign me up.
It's not bad. I don't know how that, once again, it's going to be Spirit Airlines 2.0, but, you know. They plan to run the airline with no executive office, instead having people own shares and all vote on the company's needs. Skies to Pies, Papa John's. What the hell is this?
I don't know. Is that God?
This is an insane graphic. Yeah, it literally looks like, here, God eats pepperoni pizza. With the possibility of Spirit coming back, it might be wise to hold on to your Spirit points. Other companies are now offering exchanges for unused points. Papa John's, for example, is running the Skies to Pies promotion and offering free pizza to those who can prove they are part of the Spirit loyalty program and the Papa Rewards program. We got a double dip there. Yeah. Double dip on tragedy. Could get a free pie.
In the sky.
Could get a free pie in the sky. Come on, sign it, sign it.
If they had any Papa John's in the airports, it's a good promotion.
I think, here's Hunter Step. Hunter Step. Close all the nasty smelling food places in the airports.
I want to Google real quick.
No. Didn't say no food.
The fuck
Actually, you know what? Fuck it. No food in the airport.
What?
How about
Like
this?
breaking
No fast food in the
Seath's
airport.
thingy. What the fuck does he
cannot
do?
stand when people bring styrofoam containers of stinky ass food. No food in the airport. No food in the airport.
My dad likes to buy 2 sandwiches, eat one before the flight, and then bring one out during the flight.
It's probably like a tuna and egg sandwich too. First off, there's some airports where you're like, my God, LaGuardia for some reason has like a very disgusting smell. But going to Atlanta airport and you get immediately hit with Bojangles, they're everywhere in there. horrible. Also, every time I've ever flown out of Atlanta as well, everyone always has styrofoam containers of food. Noodles. I mean, it's insane. Smells horrible. Reeks the fucking plane up.
You get hungry on the flight.
Get the pretzels. They have pretzels on the flight. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. All right, maybe I'm wrong. There should be no reason that a person should be able to bring their own hot dog on a plane.
What about buffalo wings?
No. Press the help button.
I need napkins.
No. Spirit Airlines being successful for a long time doesn't mean that it had a stellar reputation. In fact, besides taking you from point A to point B, there was very little to praise, right? For many, Spirit Airlines is known for constantly canceling flights or delaying them for absurd lengths of time. Sometimes this even had led to complete chaos, like in 2017 in New York, when 9 consecutive cancellations led to 500 people crowding employees in a frenzy. Things got so aggressive that 3 people were arrested for making serious threats against employees and cops. I mean, a bit excessive, but I will say airports, it's like it's being in purgatory.
So Google is saying I need him to break it, but I have been
like
breaking
people who are
it.
sitting quietly, there is a fucking storm inside of them. I'm always angsty in an airport. I just want to leave. I don't want to be in there.
I feel like I am actually 100% relaxed.
I fucking know you are. Because you're like, I'm getting ready to get the best 2
But now I
3
know
hours of
what
sleep
happens
of
if
my
it's
life.
broken.
Even
I
if you
didn't know
did
he
make it on the plane, you'd still be in for a rude
regens
awakening.
and
Because
is
Spirit Airlines was
practically
notorious for some of the most
invincible.
uncomfortable flights in the business.
Or
The
is
seats didn't
invincible or
recline
whatever.
and they were poorly cushioned, making them painful to sit in for long hours. And if you wanted a bigger, more comfortable seat, you had to be prepared to pay extra. Because basically everything at Spirit was on a a la carte kind of payment system. Spirit literally welcomed people to place bids on big seats like an auction rather than charging a fixed price.
I didn't know that. You just bid. You're in a bidding war like eBay. Got to check.
How bad do you want it? If my giant fat ass, I have to, please just take my money.
Yeah, these seats are uncomfy.
The other ones are too uncomfy. It hurts my bottom. Many would then sit down in their seats only to discover that the plane was absolutely filthy. This is because Spirit prioritized flight quantity over quality, and in fact, it had some of the shortest flight turnaround times in airline history. The goal was to dump people in and out of the plane as fast as possible, which meant less time to deep clean the plane before the next flight. Many reviews complain about dirty trays and dry food stuck to them, as well as seeing gum and wrappers thrown all around the cabin. The food was also nothing to write home about, whether it's an overpriced bowl of cup of noodles or packaged muffins that people claim
Since
were
when
served to
did
them in
he
prison.
swipe?
You could always expect a very average dining experience, which I don't think people, once again, I don't think that people are wanting. The quality is not the issue, it's just the...
Yeah.
Want this muffin? Oh, sure. Money.
They get you once they hand it to you.
Which, to be fair, I guess if you know going in, it's not the end of the world.
I mean, a lot of people, they get tricked, though. They don't know. So
Well,
it's
yeah.
just like that first experience is hell for them.
I feel like Spirit lifers, they know what they're getting into, right? They understand the qualms, but I do think that, like, last second, newbie flyers, all that kind of stuff, that's where they make the real money. Trevor was he swore by Spirit.
Really?
Gotta ask him, why do you like it so much? Also, Trevor's clinically insane. He's on 4 different kinds of mental medication.
We're weaning him off of them.
We're winning him off of him. We're like, it's over. Your tragedy's over. Many were not impressed by the food, and one woman's response to this was to sneak in an entire seafood boil that would proceed to stink up the whole plane. The man seen in this picture is literally covering his nose as he watches in horror. Which, to be fair, I think that person would have done that probably on it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think you can blame the food quality for someone bringing in an entire seafood broil. But I do think Spirit's conditions make it to where the passengers are like, well, like your dad, let's pack some egg sandwiches on a long flight. It's gonna stink up the plane, though. It'll be all right. It'll be okay. Yeah, exactly. Tuna in line at TSA. Throw the bag away. I think I got 4 more sandwiches. One woman recounts her dining experience as being an absolute nightmare. After paying the big bucks to upgrade to a big seat, she was given a complimentary drink. Oh.
Here you go, fatty.
Yeah,
What the
here you
fuck?
go, tubby.
Would you like some snacks? That's how they get. They give you
Yeah,
a free
want some-
treat.
Yeah. Do you want some snacks, piggy? Why, yes, I would. That's me. What do you got? She had no idea that Spirit offered a Ghirardelli hot chocolate, and she excitedly ordered it and sucked it down. Moments later, however, she started sweating profusely and began feeling a mix of anxiety, panic, and intense nausea. She asked for a bag and immediately began vomiting, and the woman didn't even catch a break before her stomach started to ache, causing her to rush to the bathroom and shit her brains out.
I go to the airplane bathroom and start shitting my brains out, which is
hot.
the most fun that you can have on a flight.
She sat back in her seat, only to immediately feel it coming back as she rushed to the bathroom to blast ass once again, this time while holding onto the sides of the plane to keep herself balanced as she prayed for it all to end.
And I'm holding the sides of like the bathroom, you know, when you're like gripping the walls, and I'm praying. I start praying. I'm like, God, please, like somebody help me.
God! God, In total, her hour-and-a-half flight ended up in 3 bathroom trips. Oh, dude, I've fucking been there. Yeah. Come on, what? Was it just the milk had gone bad? Is that what happened?
She spit, the flight attendant spit in her coffee.
Yeah, why? Fuck him. Just goes over and just like queefs into the cup.
That's hot.
She gave her the brown thumb and rubbed the rim.
Yeah, little chocolate lipstick on the edge there. There you go, asshole. It's just like for no reason. You dick to him. After takeoff, most Spirit passengers had a pretty normal experience, though they often had their sleep interrupted mid-flight by attendants guiding passengers through Spirit yoga sessions, telling people to raise their hands and stretch in unison while making hacky jokes, which, once again, not the end of the world, but man, when that person up front has the mic and they're doing their bits.
Have we told the Delta, or what was Southwest?
I don't know if I told the Southwest. It was Southwest. I forgot where we were going, but we were flying in, and the woman was like, "We're arriving at our destination, and just wanted to say, thank you for flying Southwest. You could have chose Delta. You could have..." Did this whole song. How long? 5 minutes?
The best part was like, you could have chose Delta. You could have chose the American airline. You could
She listed all of them. Yeah.
But you chose.
You chose Southwest. Yeah.
And then you think that it ends there, but yeah, she just kept going and going.
And then she's just like, yeah. So actually, I wanted to sing for what? Like we're like, I don't care. Like I don't care about this story. Let me off the plane.
It was a cursed flight or just trip too, because on the return back, that's when we had the comedian.
I feel bad for the comedian. To be fair, the comedian was bad because he like told a joke and like no one really laughed, and one guy up front was like, "Don't quit your day job," and he was just like,
"Shit."
And hung up the thing. I actually felt bad for him.
Yeah, that's mean. Let the guy have a little fun.
Don't put them down. He obviously didn't get laughs. That's a sword in the stomach.
Why'd I do twice?
Granted,
I'm slow in the head.
But still.
Well, also, didn't the guy like not hear him? He's like, "What'd you say?"
Oh yeah. What? I said, don't quit your day job. We'll be landing in Dallas Fort Worth. Part of this routine included the attendant asking for Spirit fingers, where the older crowd would happily wiggle their fingers in response. God.
I don't like that. Spirit finger.
I don't know if I like the whole. I mean, I get the gimmick and stuff, but at the same time,
come
this
here,
is going to
dickhead.
sound very bad. But I will say, when you're in an airplane line,
give me
you
some
look
tail,
over,
bro.
and there's just a fucking row.
That tail.
There's a train of fucking decrepit old people.
It's just not going to be possible. It's just not going to be possible.
They have to be fucking, and it's one at a time pushed in.
The caretaker's ramming the guy in front of him.
I'm dying. I'm dying.
Go! It's just a thing too where I'm like, oh boy, it's gonna be a long flight. Also, old people just shit themselves on planes, like they just fart. It's just always the worst. Well, in Southwest, it used to be open seating. I sat behind one old woman. I never did it again, legitimately for this reason. It fucking horrified me. I sat down, was like in a middle seat behind it, and then she was in the row in front of me to the right by the window, and literally between the cracks of the seat, she kept doing.
Oh God.
The whole flight. I did. And she just would turn back around, and she kept opening and shutting her window, and I'm like, why is there not a fucking like old person plane to just let these people die up here? My God. Actually, you know what? Petition. Hunter's tip. Hunter's tip. If you haven't died by the age of 75, jump off a bridge.
It's a little too young, but
75? That's the average.
That's the prime. You're prime old.
No.
You're prime.
All right, fine. I'll give you 77.
Okay.
77.
I think.
Don't touch me, you fucking freak.
What are you talking? That's a full life. What are you talking about? What are you doing at 85, Nick? What are you doing?
Bingo.
No, you're fucking not. Your brain's gonna be gone. With the amount you sleep right now, your brain is going. You have holes in your brain. Your brain is Swiss cheese right now. At 85, if you're still alive, you're gonna be like in a bed, just like.
I get to watch my shows.
I'll be dead because I'll have died of a heart attack because I'm fat. But maybe like Harry or somebody will come up and they'll be like, "Nick, how you doing?" Moths and shit are like flying into your mouth.
I miss Daddy.
I miss Daddy, God. One man endured Spirit yoga on a flight, only to immediately hear the pilot tell them that there'd be a 30-minute landing delay as they searched for a proper landing space, capping off the announcement by mentioning they weren't even sure if they had enough fuel to do that. I'd be like, what? This is a nightmare.
What flight were we on where the guy like panicked? The pilot did.
Are you talking about when the turbulence?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I think we were going to Los Angeles or something. This guy though gets on the flight. Why the fuck do people do this? The pilot was like, we were sitting there and he comes out and he's like, just to let you guys know, it's going to be a really choppy flight. A lot of bad air up there. Sure, you've heard that before. He then gets on the microphone while we're in the air, and he's just like, we will not be having the seatbelt light off. You have to have it on the whole time. This is going to be horrible, horrible turbulence. To the point where we're like, oh my God. And he's just like, we've been looking at our options, but like to the point where causing pandemonium. One of the smoothest flights we've ever been on.
What the fuck?
One of the smoothest flights. To the point afterwards where people were in front of me walking and they were like, what the f was that? Because you know that the pilot doors open and they're always just like, hey guys, seriously, thanks for coming. Thanks for flying with us. People were walking by me like, why'd you say that?
Well, didn't he say something like we weighed our options, like we could either fly through it or over it, and they're like, the simplest way is to fly through it?
Yeah.
It's just like, why are you letting us know this?
I love that. We weighed our options. We could either go through and get beat up, or we could actually just fly over it and be fine. But we're going to go through it. You're like, okay. But it was smooth. It was so smooth. I don't know. And he did not, there was no rhyme or reason. He didn't come back on the mic and be like, ooh, wrong call. Nothing. Oh, well, it was a lot clearer. Nothing.
You could hear the panic in his voice, too.
He was sweating.
Yeah, that was like...
like some heavy breaths and shit. I mean, imagine like you're sitting in the back and then you're like on the overhead. This is gonna be a rough flight. It was like that.
No, boy. Buckle up.
Oh. This is your captain speaking. Buckle up. This type of energy was common with Spirit. Not only did they sing happy birthday to people at the start of the flight, they even sang happy divorce songs to recently divorced passengers as well. And not only were flight attendants doing epic stand-up routines on the mic, but some were seen walking up and down the aisles the entire flight to prank passengers with props like fake mustard that they pretend to spill from the overhead bins. Pretty funny. Now, just because most flights were uneventful doesn't mean Spirit Airlines didn't have its fair share of insane and bizarre passengers. Surprisingly, more than one customer had toilet-related tragedy while flying with Spirit. How often does that happen? A lot, though.
Oh, all the time. Your nerves. I'm afraid to shit in the toilet.
I don't like how it flushes. It scares me.
I'm afraid it's gonna suck me out, but
I think it's gonna like rip my ass out.
A little suction.
Oh, yeah. After being stuck on the tarmac for over 2 hours, the woman got up from her seat and peed on the floor of the airplane. She claimed that the flight attendants denied her access to the bathroom, and admittedly, not much of an issue when you consider it's a standard protocol to keep the bathrooms closed until takeoff. Which also, to be fair though, if it's 2 hours, I'd be like, go ahead. We're not getting back up in the air. If we were on the tarmac getting ready to go, I'd be like, you're gonna be in there and be fucking rolling around the goddamn bathrooms, throwing piss and shit everywhere. But if we're already landed and we're just sitting here, you gotta take a piss. What the f are you talking about?
Also, if you're boarding too, sometimes they won't let you use the bathroom if you're boarding.
I don't understand that either. There's tons of people there. Let me take a shit really quick before we go off. Someone filmed the incident, which allegedly caught a flight attendant shaming her for the smell of her pee and telling her she needed to drink more water.
And then you need to drink water because your pee smells like disgusting.
Which, if someone pisses on the floor, it's open game to ridicule. I do like how that's the one thing, though. You were dehydrated.
That is thick.
You are dehydrated. A similar situation occurred on a different flight. A man was denied access to the bathroom and ended up shitting his pants during takeoff. He remembers a flight attendant loudly knocking and yelling, "Are you okay in there?" as he desperately tried to clean his pants in the restroom during the flight, which, what a bummer, dude.
Yeah.
I've sympathized with them. No one wants to shit their pants, man.
Especially on a flight. Can you imagine going back shit pants?
You know what I would honestly do? I would probably either make a makeshift diaper out of paper towels, or I would open the door and be like, you need to grab my luggage. And I'd change my pants. I'd just throw away the fucking pants and be like, I'm not, or what am I gonna do? Sorry, I tried cleaning it, but that's why it smells like poopy. To the person that's sitting next to me.
I was gonna say, I'm just stuck in the toilet. I'd be like, occupied, occupied.
Yeah, yeah. No, thank you. I don't need any help. Also, there's another bathroom on the plane.
Exactly. Go to the
I would be like, I just shit myself.
Yeah, I tell the flight attendant, this bathroom is out of service.
Well, then come out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck.
This, mixed with the smell that was impossible to ignore, led to everyone staring at him in disgust as he sat back down in his seat. He spent the rest of the flight trying not to cry.
Oh, that'd be me, dude.
No, you would cry.
Yeah, oh, okay, yes.
I could see you do the thing though, where it's like big watery eyes and like single teardrops dropping down. You just pick this. Actually, no. You know what? You just have to shit in your pants. I'm passed out. Oh.
Yeah, I'd wake up from the smell. Oh.
In 2024, a first-time flyer got drunk before boarding his flight and repeatedly asked the flight attendants if they wanted to join the Mile High Club, and also repeatedly asked how he could enter the cockpit. And at one point, he got up and laid in the middle of the aisle like a child. And upon landing, he was arrested and charged with interfering with the flight crew duties. In a later interview, he admitted to asking about the Mile High Club, but claimed the charges were bogus. He's like, yeah, I asked about it, but come on, it's not a big deal. I'm surprised no one got up and was just like, dude, shut the fucked up, especially the Mile High Club thing. I feel like I was on one flight where a man was sitting next to a woman. This was like a late flight, like a red eye. And I think he said something inappropriate to her because she was just like, what? And he like was writing shit on paper and like passing it to her. They were sitting right next to each other. Something happened to where a passenger it wasn't her, heard of the stuff that was said, got up behind him and like snitched. He got moved to somewhere else, and then immediately as soon as he got off, cops were already there.
Was I on that flight? I feel like
you were there for that one too. Do you remember that? That was fucking crazy.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Well, because we were walking through whatever, we saw the cops waiting there, like, what the hell? And we were kind of close to where the area was, and the woman was like, oh yeah, he was like asking for a blowjob and like all kinds of shit during the flight, like something. But it was what I'm saying is this guy saying that the whole time. The person immediately behind her immediately got up and like helped. Didn't make a scene. The last thing I feel like you want to do, some guy who's doing that is fucking mentally unhinged anyways. So discreetly go up and be like, hey, by the way, there's this going on, and then he could be like, hey, actually, we're gonna move you.
Yeah, tell the flight attendant.
Yeah, because he didn't make a fuss about it. I think he knew he was fucked. But to be fair, that was Southwest, not Spirit. So
we're classy on Southwest.
Yeah, we just have a little more class on Southwest. If there's one thing that Spirit passengers are known for, it's getting into fights. It is so common that the airline has earned the nickname the Waffle House of the Sky. In 2021, a drunk woman in Nashville named Amanda Henry had to be zip-tied and carried off the plane after assaulting the flight attendants on board. On more than one occasion, she punched a flight attendant and continued to escalate the situation by pulling on another attendant's hair. God damn, dude. It got so out of hand that passengers had to restrain her and zip-tie her legs and feet just so she could be kept under control until the flight landed. Police arrived to the smell of booze and woman with bloodshot eyes, and Amanda resisted arrest and screamed at the cops to shoot her as she was dragged into the police car, though she stiffed her legs to make it extra annoying for them. The woman was charged with public intoxication, but the charges were later dropped. Wow, the charges were later dropped?
Yeah, they tried to touch me.
Which I just want to say, I like how she's on the ground. She pulled a little Jurassic Park. Shoot her! Shoot her! She's on the ground like a velociraptor. Also, I want to make an argument for this, which don't get me wrong, I've had plenty of drinks on a plane, but should there be bars and alcohol anywhere near an airport? In the airport and on the plane? On the plane, should they be serving alcohol? I was thinking about this one time. I had kind of a buzz going. I think when we were going to Arizona or something, I had kind of a buzz going during the screwdriver, and I was like, can you imagine what the pilot was just like? Maybe I'll have like 4 or 5.
Can you move, please? Can you move?
Like,
Thanks.
should there be alcohol access on the plane? I feel like no. I feel like people can live without a drink on a plane.
I guess maybe the thought is that maybe a little alcohol can help calm people's nerves.
Calm your nerves. I guess so.
I think 1 to 2
I warped
drinks.
to the bonfire. I didn't even
Anything
fucking.
in moderation is fine, but it's just there's the potential for tragedy.
Well, you don't know. Like, you could literally go bar hopping in the airport.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, should there even be? I'm just saying, as a whole, do we need to have that? I mean, whatever. The amount of drunk, belligerent people in airports is fucking crazy.
The scary thing is, like, once you're up in the air.
Well, so where do you go?
Exactly.
Also, do I want some belligerent asshole to start fights, whatever? Hey, we have to land the plane early, which, don't get me wrong, I don't want people getting hurt, but I just mean like the thing of like, oh my god, now we have to like, it's just a whole thing.
With if he just had alcohol, exactly.
Yeah, that kind of thing. I don't know. Passengers who made it off their flights still weren't out of the woods. They then had to deal with Spirit Airlines' infamously bad customer service. Spirit consistently ranked near the bottom as far as an airline customer service was concerned. I don't think I've ever had like an actual bad experience on any other airline. Besides like delays and stuff, like I fucking hate American Airlines to death. I probably hate American Airlines more than Spirit, if I'm being honest. I fucking hate them. Ooh, sorry, we're delayed again. Ooh, flight's canceled. Oops. Fuck them. Versus Delta is the best because they have a built-in TV in the back of the headrest, which it does. It's psychological help.
It does. I never watch anything, but I watch other people's screens. I like to peer and see what.
How creepy. What a creepy thing to say. What do you mean? Why don't you just watch your own thing?
Well, because I usually fall asleep, but I wake up, I go, oh, who's this person watching? Oh, Korean drama?
It just feels so invasive.
I like to judge people based on what
also,
they're watching.
I was going to say 100% you're judging there. You're like,
I saw some kid watching Mr. Beast. His family was in first class.
A first class Mr. Beaster? Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's going to be me, Daddy. You're damn right, Joshua. Among these complaints were customers not arriving on time, being delayed, or missing their luggage, something that occurred quite frequently. What really drove people up a wall were the random absurd fees that they had to pay before boarding. You were charged for bringing water onto the plane, and if you wanted to carry on, that was an additional charge. If you didn't have a digital boarding pass, you'd have to pay for a boarding pass to be printed at the airport. What? These fees stood for decades until 2024, when Spirit was bleeding money and decided to remove a bunch of their extra fees. They also increased the weight limit of check bags, hoping to attract more customers. All right, fine. You can bring your backpack. That's what it felt like. All right, fine. We'll print the boarding pass for free. Though people hated these extra charges, it was a key part of Spirit's business strategy to keep ticket prices so cheap. Some customers were numb to all these fees because their flights were hundreds of dollars cheaper, making it the best option regardless. And the CEO of Spirit was asked about his company's customer service, and he said, offering our low fares requires doing some things that some people complain about. He was fully aware of his company's reputation, but claims it was necessary to run an airline this cheap. It's gonna be shit. It's gonna be bad, but hey, you save $300, which, to be fair, when you hear it out loud, pretty good argument. If you own it on the chin like that, I don't give a fuck. What do you want, a gold steak with it? It's you paid $50 for a ticket to Vegas. Any airline is bound to have horror stories, but the things that went down at the Spirit Airlines were a unique form of chaos. The stories go beyond boiling hot flights and water pipe leaks that left people audibly crying from distress. One Spirit flight accidentally let a bat inside the cabin, where it was seen frantically flying over passengers and putting them into a panic. Eventually, someone trapped the bat between a book and a cup and locked it in the bathroom until the flight landed. Others recount flights where they watched multiple roaches crawling all around the cabin.
I used to live with
Even
bats,
children weren't
dude.
spared of Spirit Airlines' god-awful service. 6-year-old Casper Ramos was a first-time flyer traveling from Philadelphia to Fort Myers to visit his grandma. Many airlines allow unaccompanied minors to fly with the help of a designated crew member that will watch over them throughout the process, which usually you've seen this where they're talking with them. They're like, hey, you want to book? Or like they have like resources to make it a comfortable flight for a kid who's meeting another adult at another airport. In this case, Casper incorrectly boarded onto a completely different plane that took him to Orlando. His luggage, however, was sent to Fort Myers. His grandmother went on a 4-hour drive to pick up the child in a panic, and the gate agent responsible was fired by Spirit Airlines, which that is fucking crazy. To not check the child? All right, so you're going, sure. Who are you? Casper.
A little ghost.
Ghost?
Yeah, you're gonna be a little ghost.
You a friendly ghost? You dying on this plane?
I'm so
One of the most
fucking
publicized
scared.
stories that gave Spirit Airlines a bad reputation, however, was what happened to an innocent hamster by the name of Pebbles. After finding a concerning growth on her neck, Belen Aldacosi was planning to fly home with her hamster Pebbles to have it looked at by a doctor.
If I ever have a
Called
hamster,
twice to
I'm
make sure
naming
was
it,
okay to take the hamster aboard the plane as an
emotional
emotional support animal. Over the phone, a staff member allegedly told her that she could take it on the plane, right? But when she arrived, they denied her entry. Belen claimed that one of the employees suggested she flush Pebbles down the toilet so she could board the plane. Unable to find a different flight last minute on Thanksgiving weekend, and unable to rent a car because she was too young, Belen did the unthinkable. She bid Pebbles farewell and flushed him down to a watery grave. After Pebbles was flushed away, she sat in the bathroom stall and cried before boarding her flight. Spirit Airlines issued
Jarvis,
a
pour another shot.
and stated that at no point did an employee suggest flushing the hamster. Following the event, it was reported that Spirit had never allowed rodents on their planes, and Spirit also claimed that they arranged for Belen to board a flight 9 hours later so she could find accommodations for her hamster. That's horrible.
I was gonna say, I don't know. Is it too suspicious of just like they told her they couldn't bring the rodent on, so she's like, put it in the.
Are you saying that she had some wrongdoing? Did she smash its head before flushing it, or did you just drown the fucking hamster? Well, that's what I mean. I'm like, I couldn't do it. I would tell them, like, go fuck yourself, and I'd leave. Hey, I'm not gonna be able to eat turkey this year. Bye. Click and go home. Maybe there's a little foul play here.
That's what I'm saying. I'm wondering. I don't know.
But I could also see somebody in emotional distress be swayed to do something. Someone just being like, I don't know, you should just flush it. It looks like it's dead already.
Also, if it's a little child, they're very susceptible.
I don't know if it was a little child. I think it was just like, it seemed like it was like an 18-year-old. They said it was too young to rent a car.
I see.
So I'm guessing that, and also that they got there by themselves. I don't know. Or maybe it was a kid. Yeah, can you imagine telling an 11-year-old you should just flush it? That's probably what you would tell a child. Give it back to God. Wants to swim to heaven. Go on, put it in the toilet. Regardless of how terrible Spirit Airlines could be, it's not like every single person experienced these same horror stories. For them, this was simply an affordable way to travel. One that is now sadly gone. While there are still airlines like Frontier or Allegiant that offer similar low-cost flights, it's understandable why some people aren't happy about Spirit's shutdown. Just kind of a shitty situation all around. But we need to pay respects to one of the dirtiest, greasiest airlines out there that I don't think is coming back. I think it's flown away and it's gone. Guys, if you're flying this weekend, or if you're flying out today or tomorrow or anytime in the future, be safe, take a shit before you get on the flight, and don't have any drinks. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
And watch a private plane catch on fire while you're eating delicious breakfast.
We did watch a plane on the tarmac just caught on fire for probably an hour.
I was gonna say the entire time we ate.
It was
lighting up.
It was weird because yeah, it would be like they put it out and then it would just get immediately engulfed back in flames.
No one was harmed.
That we know of.
I'm pretty sure.
Hello to the dead and the dying. My name is TB Skyen, and this video has been well requested. What's the deal with kindred? They are equal parts yin and yang, poetry and folklore. They are a curious duality that is meant to represent twin aspects of death itself. And how does that work exactly? In fact, does it work at all? Well, that's what we're here to have a discussion about. So we're going to be taking a look at their lore, we're going to be taking a look at their character design, and we're going to be discussing somewhat their place in the world of Runeterra and how well Riot have managed to realize the ambition of a character like Kindred. Now, I've talked about Kindred before in my video about the strongest character design in League of Legends, where I said that I consider Kindred probably the strongest character concept in League of Legends, but I also outlined a number of my problems with the character itself and how well it's integrated into the world. And we're going to be repeating some of those points in this video. So if you feel like you heard some of it before, I apologize, but it's relevant here again. So, for the purposes of getting into
bro, I'm like, right,
Kindred,
just
first
shoot
we
the
kinda
fucking
have to
tails.
establish
Like, can't you do
Kindred's
that?
place
Like, can't
in the cosmology of League of Legends, and this is where I am unfortunately going to have to perhaps annoy Neglect a little bit by saying that Kindred are the god of death, or at least insofar as gods are a thing on Runeterra, Kindred is one of them. The trouble when you're talking about gods is that, especially for a Western audience, or indeed an audience that is raised in any of the Abrahamic religions, we tend to think of gods in terms of all-powerful gods, all-powerful beings, which is not the only idea of what a god can be. And for me, when I think of a god like Kindred, I draw on my own background, my own cultural background in Norse mythology. And the example I like to use is that in Norse mythology, when you hear thunder in the sky...
What are you even yapping about? Jesus Christ.
We typically assume that the ultimate aim of all our efforts is to have a happy life. And judged on this basis, many of us have to admit, in the silence of our minds, that we're not really doing very well. There's so much that every year, and perhaps almost every day, comes along to spoil.
This is retarded.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. So today's going to be a full day of eating, just a random day. What you're seeing here on the screen is how I start out pretty much every single morning. So I roll out.
We That's not what I wanted.
What are the true environmental risks of doing something like this?
You're putting piping into the earth. Mother Nature is unforgiving. She's a bitch that can reward you, or she can take it all from you.
And you're telling me this is going more than a mile into the earth?
That's going 9,500 feet into the earth.
Most people don't make it more than a couple days. After 2-3 days, you'll know if you want to do this or not.
You're gonna go up there and you're gonna assist the Derrick Hand.
Hey, hold on to that, bro. All the way up.
Holy fucking shit.
We have just less than $3 million in this field, and it's making 6 figures a month profit.
This, folks, is one of the highest fatality jobs on the planet. And out here on the rig, you are working on top of a highly pressurized well that could explode at any second. We're talking about over 80 backbreaking hours a week, risking life and limb to wrestle pipe and produce liquid gold. Today, a rowdy Texas entrepreneur named Brent Franklin takes us to experience one of the most dirty and dangerous jobs there is, the oil fields. Let's get to it, but first a quick word from the sponsor of today's episode.
Folks, there's a great shift happening right now, and it's coming in the form of an AI wave. Right now, there are models that can process entire databases, AI agents that can do tasks while you sleep, and if you're not using this technology to your advantage, you might be left behind. And that's why I want to talk to you about
Good, I want to be left behind.
AI-focused education platform, and it's already impacted 10 million people across 100 countries. Here's what's happening this weekend. Outskill is running a 2-day, 16-hour mastermind, and it's led by practitioners from companies like NVIDIA, Microsoft. These are the people that are actually leading the charge when it comes to this AI revolution. They're going to show you how to build AI agents that can plan, execute, and report to you. And they're going to show you how to connect your tools into systems that can print for you around the clock. And folks, this mastermind is free to join. On top of that, if you register now, you'll unlock $5,000 worth of bonuses, including an AI prompt Bible, a personalized toolkit builder, and a roadmap to profit through AI. Now, according to Trustpilot, 93% of the people that have tried Outskill have given them a 5-star review. Folks, click the link below or hit this QR code right here to register for this mastermind. Remember, folks, knowledge is power. This is something you're going to want to learn because the change is coming whether we like it or not. And now, folks, back to the video.
Is this even doing anything?
Show I grew up loving was Mike Rowe's Dirty Jobs, and today we're going into a very rough job, the business of the Texas oil fields. It's dangerous, it's dirty, it's interesting, and there's a lot of money to be made. We're in a private airstrip right now. We're going to be taking off on this plane.
Time to see if my fucking sword does anything.
To the Texas-Mexico border that here has some cartel.
Amazing.
To learn about the business of
fucking amazing.
Drilling oil, producing oil,
epic.
What they call the upstream side of
what if I two-hand it?
Production. We have a great entrepreneur that's going to tell us his story, going from homeless to making it in the oil business. This is a Dirty Jobs, Tommy G edition. We're going to be hitting it here.
All right, so a lot of people know of the oil field, but they don't know the in-depth side of it. What I'm hoping that Tommy gets to see is the real
epic,
shit.
epic, please.
I want them to see what goes on behind everything, behind the pump. A lot of people think oil and gas prices, don't drill, oil's
now
bad,
I'm fucking
fracking,
scared.
yada, yada. I want people to know exactly how the fuck this works, how dangerous it is, and also how much fucking money it takes to become an oil tycoon.
Damn, yeah, swearing always fucking makes everything so much more hype and shit. It's more real that way. It's more serious, bitch.
You know, there's a lot of people that
I'm gonna fucking kill this bitch in this final try.
I don't really need an alarm clock. You know, I really just love what I'm doing.
This dude is true alpha male, dog.
My name is Brent Franklin, and today I'm here.
He doesn't need no goddamn alarm.
We're getting ready to
God
go
damn it.
out to Zapata, Texas. Now, this is a part.
I wish I had a hat like you.
We actually were going to bring you a hat.
I don't need no goddamn alarm clock.
We're going to cartel country. It actually used to be the gas.
I don't need no goddamn
United
goods.
States. And now you're going to go out there as kind of a
I ain't no pussy boy. I ain't no soft hand man.
Taken over by cartel. And we're one of the only drilling contractors down there.
Cool, let's roll.
Let's rock.
It's going to be about an hour and 20 minutes getting down there. We've got another storm coming through. Just coming up above the border right now. By the time we get there.
No, please.
About that time.
Get up, bro. Get up, fam.
You only worry if there's like hail or lightning, and by the time there's a problem, it's already too late. So, dime.
Well, I'm fucked.
Ya voy. Una hora. All right, perfect. One thing that's super important about the oil field in Texas, a lot of people see oil money and they see the PJs and the private planes. It is so crucial to have an airplane.
I'm fucked. I'm
A
fucked.
plane like this, about $2 million. This plane is absolutely necessary. So
Yep, I'm fucked.
We got 3 of them.
We'll see you guys on the ground. All right, it's 10 o'clock. What's next in this arrangement?
Well, we got to hop in some work trucks, and we're going to run out to the oil field. So we got about an hour run, and we're going to Zapata, Texas. So it's about an hour up the road. Check this out. Okay. Gotta get some extra.
Fuck your table, dog.
So we're just gonna put some bullets and swap over some hollow points just in case, because we're in Laredo.
Do people get kidnapped and
all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Big human trafficking place.
Seems so
let's change out these steel
performative.
toes that you
Jesus
have here,
Christ.
just so you're ready to go. We brought y'all some boots.
Thank you.
This is to release your inner redneck.
I'm too cheap to get cowboy boots for myself. I was looking at them when I was on a trip the other day with my wife. This is like Christmas for me.
We have Richard talk to you a little bit about, what we're gonna encounter. Tell these guys a little bit about what we're about to go down on these roads.
We're probably a rock away from Mexico.
So I know a lot of people go on like YouTube and they say, hey, let's do this, but like, this is like the real tube. There's a reason ain't nobody drilling down here.
And we're gonna be getting there around midnight.
Yeah.
Hop in. All right, Tommy, welcome to South Texas.
I can already just feel it in the air. This is a cowboy, roughneck, gunslinging, oil digging type of area.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what we're about to do.
We're pulling into the oil rig. It's loud. It smells.
What was the reason you had to stop recording?
So this is where fortunes are made. In Texas, the oil fields. We're in the middle of nowhere. And you have men here.
There wasn't no fucking
12 and
reason.
12s. All right, so around the clock, this thing's goal is to flow oil and gas. If you do this properly, you can make a lot of money. If you do this the wrong way, you go bust. But let's go check out and see what's happening over here.
Go get them FRs, get them geared up real quick.
Yeah. You're good to go.
Blue 42.
Have you ever heard two turtles? It's good. Let's go.
Are there guys sleeping in here right now?
Absolutely. All right, so this is inside our main camp. So this is where everybody lives. We got a couple refrigerators in here, running water, AC.
God damn, someone clean up and do dishes, for fuck's sakes.
On the other. We got morning
So they don't
tower.
wake each other up.
Yeah, you got daylight morning tower. So the lights are off in there, so they're probably sleeping in here. So here's your rack up top, ready to go for you. We got a Tempur-Pedic egg carton. That way you get a nice little sleep. Shouldn't be too many bed bugs on here. These mattresses are relatively new. This is where the big boss lives, and this is where we run everything. So if you see over here behind on this computer, this tells us all kinds of things. It tells us our hook load. It tells us at what depth our bit is. It tells us our pace on gas. As you can see right now, we're just sitting there. We've got 104 units of gas. That means that we have gas that's coming up and it's being detected at the surface of what's going on. So there is some gas in that well already. If oil is at $65 a barrel, one barrel equals $65.
In February of 2026, oil was about $65 a barrel, and then the U.S.-Israel war in the Middle East began, and now as of this episode's release, about 3 months later, crude oil is trading at about $105 a barrel.
Hell yeah.
Brent has been making a killing.
Fuck.
Now, pop quiz. How many gallons are in a barrel?
50 or 60?
No. Every 42 gallons equals 1 barrel of oil. All right, so let's check out the kitchen. So this is where we get all the cooking done. So what we like to do is we like to cook for the crew. We got some beans over here for you.
The whole war is fabricated by oil company.
Some fine groceries up in here. We've got your eggs, got your chocolates, lots of energy drinks is what people need. These are ribeye steaks. We're getting ready to throw these on the grill. I'm assuming y'all eat them medium well.
This is the type of whiteboard I really rock with.
Texas shit, bro. That's called a rare steak right there.
Yeah, that's rare.
That's some Texas shit, bro.
You're the one that needs to swallow.
I actually started out as a roughneck whenever I
fuck
got
you
out of the
mean
Navy.
by
I went
that?
out to Carlsbad, New Mexico, and I was working with a company called Capstar Drilling. It lasted a couple months, ended up getting in a fight with a driller, came home, started a landscape business. Landscape got into, construction got into remodeling got into house flipping got into investing and lending, got into oil and gas, and I kind of full circled back. And I got into oil and gas, but kind of like an accident. I was just looking for ways to use my money. You start investing once you start learning how to use your money to make money and start trying to reduce your tax bill. That's really why I got into it. And so why I'm boots on the ground is, man, number one is the respect for my guys. All this rig and equipment and shit doesn't fucking do anything if you don't have the people, and the people have to love where they work because they live here. And so we just try to give them the best that we can with what we have and what we can do. I was born to do this shit. I love fucking grease, hunting, being out in the country, grilling, and just doing big shit. And so it's like, this is home for me. Here's our guys down here right now, busting ass, working on getting the belt in. This is our secondary pump right here.
This is a dirty job.
This is a dirty job, bro.
Hard job.
This is a hard-ass job. You see all these men right here? These guys are up 12 hours at a time. Everything out here is fucking hard. It's circulating that mud through. We're circulating in the hole. That way it doesn't get clogged up. It shakes out the solids, puts it over there into our pit. You can see out there all the shit that we've gone through. And this is basically the drilling mud.
What things in our life do we not realize are because of oil and gas?
Everything. I mean, hard hats, paint, clothes. I mean, there's so many products. Makeup. I mean, think about everything you use every day. This is a commodity that will be needed forever by every single person. This is an oil rig. This is drilling an oil and gas well. The rig is the machinery that puts the well into the ground. Once we're done putting the well in and installing the pipe, we'll move this rig off and we'll move a completion rig in.
This is a drilling rig.
The drilling rig drills the well.
And you're telling me this is going more than a mile into the earth?
That's going 9,500 feet into the earth.
That's unbelievable.
Yes. Ready to go up on the rig?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
You know, I just gotta say, it's moments like this, on an oil rig, almost 1 a.m. I love my job. It's a beautiful day, bro.
I love my job too, man. So this is the belt that we're changing out right now. Those belts broke. Those are $4,000 a piece.
One more time.
Yeah, so these guys, man, are top notch. Some of them came from West Texas. Some of them are guys from South Texas.
If I'm being honest, one of my weaknesses, I don't know how to fix anything in my house. So I would not be a good fit for a job like this. Anything that goes down that stops the operation, they have to tackle it as a team and get to work. And so I could see why the team environment aspect of this would be pretty exciting.
We can purchase these rigs for anywhere from $500,000 to $2 million. Put $500,000 to $1 million in it, and you've got a $7 to $10 million rig out here. The actual equipment. This shit is not for the weak at heart. It's not easy at all.
I don't want to play this fucking game anymore.
Families for 30, 40 days at a time.
Yeah, and you know, then they go home for 2 or 3, and then they're right back at it.
I just don't understand how I'm doing this bad with fucking Sourcerer. Like, holy shit, dude.
Top of the morning, bro.
I think I'm
What job should I go over for,
fatigued of Darksouls.
The rig thrower, your driller will be Kevin. He'll line you up from there.
Okay, cool.
What's your name, bro?
Kevin Zagiri. Yes, sir.
Yeah, however.
I've been doing this since 2008.
Jesus Christ.
17 years.
What got you into it?
I was a driller by the time I was 23, and I've been doing it ever since then.
How long have you been away from your family at this point?
At this point, I've been out here for 34 days.
What is that like?
It's rough. I got 4 kids at home.
Like there's not a day off. It's back to back.
Back to back to back to back. Yes, sir.
Are you tired?
Oh, I'm tired. I'm wore out, but you got to keep going. You know what I mean?
And you go until the oil and gas are gone.
Until the well's done. Yeah.
And what do you do when you're off work?
I got a ranch. I got 48 acres. I like to hunt. I got a couple of trucks. I like to work on my trucks and spend time with my kids. I can't do a 9-to-5 job. It's all I've ever done. This is what I like to do. I like to be out here. And this is what I love to do. All right, so here we got the guys cleaning the floor. They'll be getting everything ready. Those are the snips right here. That's your drill pipe.
This looks like heavy shit.
Oh, they're heavy. That's about 150 pounds right there.
How does your body feel after doing this job for 18 years?
I'm 37 years old, and I feel like I'm 47.
Where do you feel it the most?
My back and my knees.
What kind of stuff should we be aware of this morning to stay safe?
The main thing with safety, man, we always talk about your pinch points. Make sure you watch where you put your hands. Your slip, trips, and falls. Make sure you watch where you're walking. And then your overhead loads. Main thing. Always look up. Most people don't make it more than a couple days. After 2 or 3 days, you'll know if you want to do this or not. People who need to work, always make it further than people who want to work. Because if you need to work, you need to keep your job. You have to take care of your job. People who want to work, they're just here because they want to work.
This is a very tough job. What keeps you doing this year after year? and money, family. If you couldn't do this, if you weren't doing this, what job would you be doing back home? Diesel mechanic probably? What happens if you want to take a day off? You gotta better let them know soon. There's people looking for work, you know what I mean? And if you want to go, somebody else is ready to take that position. Do you ever miss important events back home? Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, I've missed funerals, birthdays, Christmas, holidays, you know. Yeah, I've missed them.
Damn, feels bad, dog.
Who's climbing through there? Let's roll. Whole rig's waiting on you, Tommy. You're gonna go up there and you're gonna assist the derrick can. There's a guy up there with tripping pipe. You're gonna take the pipe, you're gonna rack it back. You're gonna unhook the pipe from the elevators. You'll learn when you get up there. Let's go.
Fucking, I'm so smooth brain. Holy shit.
Hey, hold on to that, bro. All the way up. Just hold on to it. Walk it up. I'll take it slow. I ain't gonna. Unless you wanna go on right. No, just take it nice and steady. It's my first date, you know what I mean?
Wait
a little bit more. Holy fucking shit. So you fill all these slots with pipe. And what made you take this job all the way up here? Money. Do they pay more up here? They better than
I'm doing
pay
so
more up
bad.
here.
I'm just
Are you scared at all? How long you been doing this for?
This roughly about 10 years.
Sometimes when you're on here, it moves, and that's when it gets uncomfortable. Oh, they got another drone over here too.
Maybe I should just start hitting with my fucking sword out. Why did it seem like it was doing so much before?
So just think, in 4 more hours, you'll earn one of these.
That's it?
All right, so what you're getting ready to do is you're getting ready to disconnect this pipe with these iron roughnecks. Forehand right here is about to show you how to operate them. They're all hydraulic. Those are your slips. You're gonna pull those after you disconnect on the next connection. Hop over here, get with this forehand.
All right. Be kind of easy with it. Just use your boom out first. Now right there, you're gonna stop. Whoa, whoa. Go back a little bit. This middle one right here, it'll rotate your makeup and breakouts. Okay. Push this one. That'll rotate this way? Yes, sir. All right.
Now release. 80 more of those just to take it out. We got to go in and out. We got to do this a minimum of 12 times on this well. You're going to rack this pipe back over in front of this rock right here. Your derrick man's going to get it, move it back around. You're going to push that pipe over there. Watch your toes. Okay. Watch your hands.
Oh shit.
Come on, watch your hands.
Your hand.
My hat? Your hand.
GG, well. What?
Jesus Christ. Go right there. Boom. Circle is on the bridge. Right there. No, sideways. Yeah, circle. Hey. What's crazy is just the slightest time you don't pay attention, somebody can come down on your head, a slip. I mean, being up there in cowboy boots in the mud was ridiculous. These guys work their ass off for their check, that's for sure.
I'm doing so
Right
bad, holy shit. It's been a very long time since I struggled with fucking Seath.
There's
like,
three
I don't
main
understand
ways you
how
die
I'm
in
doing
this
so bad.
job. First is by explosions that can sometimes result in you getting burned alive. Second is the silent death that visits you when you breathe in toxic hydrogen sulfide gas. And third is from being
Shouldn't they
so
be wearing,
exhausted from working that you crash your truck on the long commute home.
What are the true environmental risks of doing something like this?
There's all kinds of environmental risks, man. You've got, you're putting piping into the earth. The earth is an incredible monster. Mother Nature is unforgiving. She's a bitch that can reward you or she can take it all from you.
So I was up there, the guy said he makes about 22 bucks an hour up there. The guys on the floor do about 20 bucks.
BRB, I'm gonna grab another pop. legit don't even want to fucking play no more, but whatever.
$1 an hour.
Yeah, that's correct.
Does that seem criminally low to you?
Man, well, they actually took a big pay raise when they came with us. These guys been working in South Texas. Work
I
is
should have
extremely slow
screenshot
down
that.
here. And so these guys get per diem. We cover their food. So they get, you know, 50, 80, 100 bucks a day, every day that they're here, just for living expenses. But the secret here is a lot of hours. They get into overtime, and then they get time and a half. So their pay is actually pretty solid. Today, they've been busting ass. I'm giving everybody out on site a $1,000 bonus. Most companies, they do this very seldomly. Sometimes they give $100 here, $500 here. We try to reward our guys thousands of dollars. The cost of living is high. They bust their ass, they deserve it.
Man, first thought coming off the rig, especially when I was up in the sky, was any day that I feel like that I'm complaining or that I'm like, this is a rough day, this is a healthy experience to remember there are so many people around this country that bust their ass day in and day out.
What was your scariest moment?
Once I got on the basket, my muddy boots were slipping around. I wasn't sure if I was harnessed in, and I just thought, what the fuck am I doing up here?
Trying to earn a living, man. Trying to make a dollar.
On the level of kind of a dirty jobs episode, it's exactly what I expected, and that's what I was hoping for. Is I want to see tough people working hard to make their living. For some reason in this country, we've gone away from working with your hands, or skilled labor was looked down upon. Like an office job is what you're supposed to aspire to. Anyone that works for their hands is kind of a lesser class. And I think, look at our manufacturing going overseas. Look at our capabilities as a country.
According
right
to
now.
who?
We're in a
though?
wartime situation.
Who's saying that?
We're running out of munitions quickly, partly because we gave our greatest ally a lot of them, but partly because we don't have manufacturing inside our own country. I think if we want to be a strong, prosperous America, that we have to get back to celebrating the blue-collar worker. I think that's really important to the blood of our country.
All right, cool. 6 guys, $6,000. Take care of our hands. Always support your blue-collar workers. People are out here busting their fucking ass. Now's not the right time, but it's always the right time to make a little cash. Thank you. Where's the other hand? No. Thank you, bro. That's a wrap. I'm gonna find these other 2 guys. We're gonna bounce.
Touchdown. A little bit of a bumpy flight, but where are we heading to next?
Okay, so we're in Victoria, Texas today. We're just south of Houston, and we're going out to one of our fields that has 13 producing oil and gas wells. So you're gonna get to learn what a pump jack is, how pumps work, how separators work, how water, oil, and gas get separated, how the oil gets picked up, hauled off, and monetized, operating expenses, what can go wrong, and the day-to-day operations of the oil field.
Sounds good to me. How much did you do in 2025 in business?
In 2025 in business across all platforms, we did over 40 million.
So that's your high on the hog moments. Tell me about the low moments in business.
There's been a lot of low moments. You know, I made my first million in real estate wholesaling. You know, in 2023, I had a real bad spill where I was $4 million in debt, borrowed some money from some friends to buy some equipment to get one of my businesses off the ground, did a ton of work, and had to climb out of the hole. I had 56 bucks in the bank at Christmas, almost $200,000 owed to my staff immediately, and no money coming in because we didn't get paid for doing a bunch of work. And that was the one that I thought we definitely weren't going to recover from. But got good, got in church, and just focused and handled one problem at a time.
So from 1 year being massively in debt, almost on the brink of losing your business, to 2 years later, tens of millions of dollars.
Correct. You just saw it was a workover rig. This is the rig that they use to complete the wells. So after we drill it, we need to put pipe and packers and things in it. This is kind of like the repair rig and the completions rig. Anytime a well breaks where you have a hole in your tubing, or you need to change out a pump, or a rod snaps, which we'll go over when we get in the field, this is the type of rig that we use to do that. We own these as well.
So what are we walking up to right here?
All right, this is our production facilities. So this is also known as our tank batteries. This is where we have water, oil, and gas coming from our well out in the field. Pumps. It comes over here. It goes through a separator. It separates. Now, the way that these tanks work is water is the heaviest. It sits on the bottom.
Take me to the tank.
Yeah, let's go take a look. Come on. How's it going?
It's going.
You know this man?
Tommy, nice to meet you.
I did after last night. My son's introduced me to you.
Oh, nice. Thank you. How long you been in the oil business?
My whole life.
When did you start?
14.
14? How old are you now?
54.
Okay, so what do you do here?
Basically, I keep the lease operating. This one is a little different than your normal average old well or gas well facility. This one's it's more of a plant. They call it a water drive. Okay, so what we do is we make a lot of water. Okay, and what we do is we skim the oil off the top of it and obviously sell the oil and maintain it. Well, we put the water back down whole. So we're rotating all the product down in the earth, in other words.
First of all, you have the voice of a manly man. I just want to tell you that. And then this water is basically getting recycled, so it can keep processing the oil over and over and over. What kind of stuff do you have to know to do your job?
First of all, you got to be hard-headed, not take any days off, and learn from everybody that you get around. This is just something that you learn from people over time.
What does a work week look like for you?
I work 7 days a week. A good week looks like 50.
You got a wife?
Yes.
How's your work week going at home?
Fine.
7 days a week is a lot.
Yep. 365? Yes, sir.
Wow.
So let's talk about this closed loop system, right? I want you to think about the earth for a second. Out here, we've got a blanket.
Are these all me? Like, goddamn.
At about 5,400 feet. And in that formation, there's a lot of water. Water is the heaviest. It sits on the bottom. Oil floats on top, and gas goes to the cap of it. That's what these big separators
it can't be
do.
all me.
The water's coming through this. They're separating. Oil's flowing over and going to the oil tank. Water's going and getting disposed back into the well.
Simply by density, it's settling in its natural state.
Correct. So what we're doing is we are extracting the water, oil, and gas out of one well. We're ripping the oil out of it, and then we're injecting the water back into the same formation through another well. That way we keep the fluid level high. Most of our fresh water is 1,200 feet or shallower in these wells, and we're down, 5,000 to 6,000 feet.
It still blows my mind how deep in the earth you gotta go to get this stuff.
I mean, people are gonna watch this video and say, man, 5,000 feet ain't nothing. There's wells 25, 30,000 feet.
Where am I? What?
33,000 feet in Louisiana. So we're gonna go over here. We're gonna take a look
at
the
fuck just happened?
We're gonna get some gas to it. We're gonna fire it up. We're gonna see if we can start pumping some oil over here.
Perfect.
Okay, so we're getting ready to go up on our
I don't know why I
batteries.
pressed it twice, but
This is
whatever.
where the oil flows into after it's separated through the separator. And once these tanks get full, then we call in trucks. The trucks come over here, they take an 18-wheeler, they hook up to the bottom of the battery, they take the oil out, and then they take it to the processing plants. It's our downstream refineries, and they buy it from us. This is their purchaser. So it's time to climb up this bad boy. All right, so 3 points of contact at all times. Now, this field doesn't have any H2S, but you always got to be careful of whenever you're opening up these tank batteries, because a lot of times they'll have a lot of gas, but we have sensors that are out here. See the oil in there? So we do what's called strapping. We take this strap right here, we drop it down into the well, and it tells us how many inches of oil are in each of these tanks. So we're able to calculate how much production we're making on the wells every single day. Full. All right, and this right here is our secondary tank, and as you can see, she's full of black gold.
How much will you make off a tank like this?
So right now, it depends on what oil shuts in at for the end of the month. Right now, it's about $98 a barrel. So for every barrel, whenever they come, they're gonna take a load. They're gonna take between 155 and 165 barrels. So do 165 basically times 100, between 15 and 16 grand per load. Actually kind of create your own market and hedge right here. Think of it as this. If you're extracting a product that sells for $60 a barrel, right, and you can store X amount, you could wait a month and it could go to 100. You still have that product. What you sell it at is market value. So we've been stockpiling it till these things get full. Now oil prices jumped up. So instead of getting $60 a barrel, we're going to get almost $100 a barrel.
Yes.
Makes a big difference.
How long ago was it that it was $60 a barrel?
Shit, not that long ago. Couple weeks.
Couple weeks?
Couple weeks.
And now it's about $100 a barrel.
Correct. It was about 96, 98. And so it matters what we get paid at the end of the month. So the contract for March will be locked in. April gets locked in. It depends on what we get locked in because we have a monthly contract.
How much can each of these barrels hold?
300 barrels.
And how much does 300 barrels go for right now?
Today it's just about $100. So let's call it $100.
Okay, so we're looking at $30,000 each of these barrels. We have 8
Correct.
of them up on this platform right here.
Correct.
How long does it take to fill this entirely?
So we'll fill this up in 2 days, 2 to 3 days.
So you could do $30,000 every 2 days off this?
Yes. 150 barrels a day.
Shit.
Just reach in and see.
God, I suck. What am I doing?
Wedding rings made of damn oil.
So this at the top layer is oil.
That is oil. This right here is black gold. That is it. You can come take a look in here. People say that looks like water. That is not water. That is beautiful green oil right here.
Are you gonna go look at a pump jack well?
Let's do it.
Or a ESP?
Oh, he's probably talking about
let's
money.
look into it. So is this job a pretty solitary
the word green is
occupation?
hypothetical, maybe.
Yes.
I don't fucking know.
What do you think about that?
I love it.
What do you love most about it?
Not having to work around a whole bunch of
Man,
people.
I just had to
Make my
eat
own
and get a
decisions.
pop,
When you got too
and
many
I'm
people
good.
around, something always gets fouled up. These are the drive boxes that we're coming up here on the right.
These Smartin drives?
These, yep,
God damn it.
These are what we refer to as the ESP.
So what are these doing?
This is where the power actually goes down into the well. It's under the ground. You can't see it, but I can show you when we get to the well itself. See if I can get you to show you what comes up. See, this is what I was explaining. This power comes from that panel over there.
I mean, this is an industry that if someone just got offered the opportunity to manage an oil rig, I think most people would say, I don't even know where to start. I don't know where to begin. This is not an opportunity.
What's the first question you ask before any job?
What do I got to do?
What's the pay?
What do I got to make? Yeah.
What's the pay?
Yeah.
Right? Hey, you want to work on a rig? What's it pay? What do I got to do? How long is it? People feel too entitled. You have a daughter?
Son.
Okay, you have a son, right? What do you want your son to be when he grows up?
Excited about life, working hard at what he loves.
And if he called you and said, Dad, I want to be a roughneck,
Son, you got to go out and be a roughneck.
you would tell him to chase his
If that
dreams?
was his life ambition that he was sold on,
Probably not. You want him
I
to
would
make-
encourage him if that's what he.
No, you would not use this day one. Honestly, you would not use this as something to push on your
I would
kids.
talk to him about the downside.
You would want him to make as much money as easy as possible with the least amount of work as possible. You want him to be as
I
successful.
don't know if that's a formula for a happy life. Doing everything as easy as possible for the most amount of money. I think also we're kind of conditioned to think that those jobs don't pay well, but I think the average plumber is making more than the average office person in this economy. The people that do pick that profession, they're going to have way too many customers and not enough competition, which is a good problem for the plumber, but a bad problem for society. There's certain things you just.
I was just doing this like the biggest
100%.
fucking idiot.
No, that's
Jesus
what we want to drive.
Christ.
We want to drive people that want to come out, they want to experience things, they want to do things.
Beautiful.
All right, Tommy, so check out this oil rig. What do you think?
Looks a little like it's not producing.
Okay, this is not a rig, this is a well. Remember we went over? The rig drills the well. First things first. That being said, guys, this is an electronic submergible pump, or ESP. And some wells have different forms of artificial lift. Some of them have pump jacks. This one in particular has a power cord that goes all the way down and hooks to a pump that spins at high RPMs and moves fluid from the formation up the tubing and into the flow lines that go over to the separator.
You guys want to see what comes out of it?
Hell yeah.
I want to see what comes out of you. What?
All right, back up. So this is what we're moving right now. Pretty incredible, huh?
That's oil.
And water and gas. And as it levels out, the oil will float on top of the water. You can see it sits in there, and there's your oil cut right on top. And you just got to separate the water. And you can feel this. What do you feel?
Nice and warm.
It's hot. It's from the formation. It's hot down there.
So folks, I think it was really cool. We got to learn about oil, something that runs this world quite literally and that we use in our everyday life we might not give much thought to. And we got to go more in depth. We got to see the dirty side of this job, the rough side, but also the entrepreneurial side.
Absolutely.
If you want to check out more of Brent Franklin, both his social media and his company is linked in the description. I had fun on this journey. Had fun getting my hands dirty. Thank you, brother.
Tommy, they don't make them like you anymore, brother.
See you next week, guys.
Tragedy lurks around every corner in the music industry.
Nuh-uh.
Fame, temptation, and pressure push many talented artists into dangerous territory, and some simply...
I need to see something. All right. Sometimes my microphone likes to just fucking be hella weird. So for a second, didn't know if I was actually, my mic was on.
They fall apart, leaving their careers and lives in shambles. This description sadly fits the late OG Mako perfectly. When he first emerged, the ATL rapper seemed to have limitless potential and believed that nothing could slow him down.
Hey man, it's OG Mako, OGG, QC. This is my new hit. Call it You Guessed It.
Pace yourself. I mean, no, because as fast as you arrive, it could be as fast as you exit, my G.
Fuck that.
I mean, I'm just telling you, it could happen. I mean, you may not want to, but you know, there's always an exit sign.
Nah, I mean, it's always exit sign, but you can sure as fuck go away from that motherfucker.
But the 10 years that followed would humble him and ultimately push him past the breaking point. 2 years on from his passing, his journey stands not as the example that he wanted to set, instead serving as a cautionary tale, which reveals how fame and fortune will not save you from the problems you can't outrun. Born in College Park, Georgia, Mako always loved music and had a broad palette of output that he enjoyed. His taste went far beyond neighborhood rap, and long before becoming an MC, he was already dabbling in heavy rock.
Yeah, I used to be in a hardcore band. Me and a few of my friends made it. It was called Dr. I was the lead vocalist and the backup guitarist, and it was fucking awesome. Could never record our music though, because we didn't have any money to like pay for a rock recording session, which is way different than a rap recording session. We just need a mic in a closet, need like actual shit. So we never got to record anything, but it was hard though. Live shows was crazy.
Throughout his material, the evidence of his wide-ranging influences was always present. Initially dubbed Mako-Maddox, before restyling himself as OG Mako, his early work made a minor buzz in and around Georgia, but didn't exactly signify that he was the next big export from the state. But that all changed with Bitch You Guessed It, his sparse, hard-hitting 2014 breakout that grew big enough to spawn a 2 Chainz remix. He even won Best All-Around Turn-Up at Drake's inaugural Hood Grammys on Instagram. Whatever that's worth. Yet, he had a complicated relationship with his biggest hit, viewing it as a reflection of people's low intellectual standards.
People gotta understand that when I made You Guessed It and I heard it the next morning after, you know, being drunk, the first thing I said is it's the stupidest song I ever made. Me and the whole OGG, we all listened to the shit, you know, and they listening to You Guessed It like, bro, this shit trash. Like, and you delete this shit. And I'm like, nah, this is just that garbage that is going. And people hate to hear me say it, but shit, it's only because people are so fucking stupid that song is going. People are idiots, and they only want to enjoy immediately your dumbest shit because when you put them on something that's, you know, higher or is more lyrical or is deeper, have anything, they immediately try and push that shit out the way, not because it's ass, but because they don't want to say, hey, I'm stupid and I don't understand this. Honestly, I'm happy the record makes people happy.
But that didn't stop him from going after Korean rapper Keith Ape, who he believed had plagiarized the record.
Everybody was hitting me up like, you know, like you should be honored that somebody from across the world went and was inspired by your music, and then they went and made this awesome recreation. No, you're honored if somebody hits you up from across the world and says, hey, your shit is awesome, and I'm gonna make another version of it. What they did was they went and seen, hey, this isn't popping where I'm at, but we know this shit is hard. Let's make it in our language and just do it. It's not like it ever had. They never put any mention of me in it. And then all the Americans talking about this shit is hard as fuck. You can't even understand it. You don't even know what the fuck they saying. You have no idea. It's fucking blackface. All they had to do was just put a little dark makeup on their face, and then people would have realized how fucking racist it was. It's just a multitude of racist shit. I don't give a fuck what you say.
This guy is real as fuck. Never thought OG Mako would be such a down-to-earth guy. That uncompromising nature had its drawbacks. After signing to Quality Control via Capitol, Mako still hadn't learned to pick his battles. When he spotted similarities between his video and Beyonce's 7-Eleven, he came after her and her Bayhive fans, labeling them cult members. Beyonce takes my video concept, y'all act like I'm irrelevant, and it didn't happen. 12 million views of irrelevant, sure. He didn't stop there, basically committing treason in Atlanta by coming after Future for his negative influence, saying precisely that he destroyed countless lives by making it cool to be a drug addict. 56 Xans isn't cool. Whether or not he had a point, Future wasn't having it, and he made that clear.
Fellow Atlanta rapper, do you know this guy? OG. Who that is? OG Mako has Mako. He has taken issue. Mako. He too close to Mac. He's taking some issue with you. OG Mako has taken issue with Future's music. Here's what he tweeted. He said, I love Future, but I also understand Future has destroyed countless lives by making it cool to be a drug addict. 56 Xans ain't cool. 56 Xans ain't cool. Yeah, what do you say to that? The drug culture's been promoted through the music, and that's not good for the young people. He need to rap about whatever he rap about. He need to get out and start rapping church Bible verses. And then he won't have an opinion on hip hop.
Future simply gave him the benefit of the doubt, even offering crucial advice about the predatory nature of hip hop and its media.
But the most important thing he said.
The way me personally I look at it is fucking Future might like doing drugs and he might like promote it, but you can obviously tell like he's not like fucking just pilled out or like coke this that whatever the fuck. Like he obviously does shit in moderation, and like there's nothing really wrong to rap about shit that you like. I feel like it's other people's responsibility to be like, if you look up to like a rapper and wanna like be like them, and even if it comes to fucking drugs, like don't like become a fucking hardcore druggie. And like there's certain people who can like do drugs and like just be fine, and there's some people who like get super fucking addicted to it. Like at the end of the day, me personally, I don't think it's anyone else's responsibility but the listeners. Like just because someone else is doing something doesn't fucking mean that, like, you gotta be out here doing the same fucking shit. Like, what? Like, if someone you looked up to jumped off a building, are you gonna do the same goddamn thing? Like, god damn it.
And this is why when everybody say, oh, you know, I apologize to Future, I need to understand what I apologize about. Because the most important thing he said in that whole conversation was, you need to realize that they're going to try to turn us against each other. That it won't be just white people that try to turn us against each other. The black people going to try to turn us against each other. The white people going to try to turn us against each other. The machine is going to try to turn us against each other just to keep the machine running. And what you did was a rookie mistake. You let them fool you into saying something that's not exactly what you tried to carry across. At the same time, look at the conflict is made. Now you're going to take some losses forward that you shouldn't have had to take, all because you're trying to say a positive message. You can't let them do that to you. And I said, you're right. And I said, I apologize for being a rookie and letting that rookie mistake happen.
Yet, Mako just couldn't internalize that message, constantly getting distracted from his goals by conflicts and controversy. When the Drake and Meek Mill Ghostwriter scandal erupted in 2015, Mako was one of the first to stand up for the man at the center of it, ATL's own Quentin Miller. You hear 6 p.m. in New York, that was clearly Drake. It's amazing, it's lyrically profound. But 6 p.m. in New York is not what's being played every fucking day. It's 10 bands, and that's Quentin Miller. I wasn't like, fuck Drake. I was trying to show that it's these underground dudes that y'all be trying to discredit that's really out here boosting artists. But rather than being accepted, Mako was later blamed by Quentin for exposing his role in the situation.
That other rapper from Atlanta that did interviews about me talking about how we're friends and shit, he's the one that really said my name. I called him about that. His explanation was crazy. Needless to say, we don't have anything to do with each other anymore. I'm not even gonna say his name. But he's a part of it too. His place to put that out there or whatever, but you know, it is what it is at this point. What do you know, it's done now.
Are you talking about the comments that OG Mako made about you?
I don't know that guy's name.
Well,
Mako later disputed this, insisting that his comments came purely from a place of support that was misinterpreted.
That's not true. I just basically put it out.
No.
But what really actually happened was, and if you look at the situation, which is so crazy because I'm like this fucking scapegoat for everybody doing pussy ass shit. What really happened was Meek was already tweeting about it. I called Quentin my friend. Quentin don't call me his friend, which is fine with me. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? But like, what happened was I got up. I was sitting there and I got up and I'm seeing like Meek and O'Malley and you know, the managers like talking about this shit. And it was like, what's up boy named Miller, Quentin, he's like Quentin, and me being a friend of this person, you know, I'm like, yo, finally somebody's giving my nigga the recognition because I've been, and Quentin can lie about it all he want, but I called a nigga the day, if you're reading this, it's too late, came out. I called him the morning it came out because I was listening to the tracks and I'm like writing down numbers of each number track. Like, no, it has to be Quentin.
As all of this occurred, Mako's own career didn't make much forward progress. After You Guessed It stalled out at number 90 on Billboard's Hot 100 chart after only 3 weeks. His next big moment came with the XXL freshman class, where he believed that he could hold his own against anyone in his year's group.
I only know OG and Vince.
This class is kind of legendary at the same time because this is a time when music is switching. You know, so you get to see all the new forms of hip hop represented.
The public didn't agree, and his verse went down as one of the worst in XXL history. Bruh, was he just talking to himself? The proper response would have been to double down on the music. Instead, he kept getting into trouble, and whenever a mic was in his face, he insisted others had copied his style and taken the credit he deserved.
I don't know why, but everybody definitely became OG Mac, but it's whatever though.
Man, how'd you feel when everyone started doing that thing?
I would have felt a lot better if people acted like I was stupid and didn't realize that that's what was going on, or if they didn't try to like downplay it, like, you know, everybody wasn't taking different parts of what I had made, and then especially with everybody knowing that when I did it, that was corny and I was lame, and look at this
Let's see if I remember where to fucking go.
Yellow hair, and look at him in his weird pants, and now that's all y'all want.
One of his targets was Lil Uzi Vert, who he passive-aggressively tweeted about when an article calling Uzi a rock star was posted. These dudes don't just become rock stars. Somebody gotta show you the way. Stop playing with my name. When asked if he truly believed this, he declared, without a doubt. The coach had him with us in the beginning, flying out to shows. They didn't sign. He kept the sauce. Amid the controversy, he openly admitted struggling to outrun the shadow of his biggest hit.
Yeah, I didn't imagine it would be, I'll be honest, I didn't imagine it would be as hard to go back up, because once you know, want everybody around you, it don't matter who it is, you know what I'm saying, like, all the way up to the big labels, like, once you do this thing and they see you can do this thing, they want you to do that thing, regardless of how amazing this other shit is. Do that thing, because that thing worked, and this thing might be amazing and innovative and shit, but we don't trust this thing. Right, and that's why you got people who was like 3 years ago, like, "808s and Heartbreak is garbage," and now you're like, "Oh my God, 808s and Heartbreak." Meanwhile, I'm listening to 808s and Heartbreak's like, "Brother, this man, Ye is on some shit. Like, this is amazing." You feel me? Because you can't wait for people to understand that you making the future. Because all that's gonna happen is you gonna keep waiting for it, and then somebody else gonna come do it, and they gonna be like, "Bro, did you hear this nigga? Bro, fire as fuck." And you like, "Bro, I've been doing that like 3 years. You ain't hear it when I did it." You did that. You know what I'm saying? But people, especially
do I need
in Atlanta,
to kill
you know what I'm saying,
or do something before I can talk to the one dude that gives me the key?
Between original and like slick copy.
Despite his own career stalling, his ear for talent remained sharp. He even signed the young Doja Cat to his OGG label for a period.
Live instruments, we went with live instruments. I made that song actually. Me and Post Malone was in the studio with FKI. Rex and Seven Thomas on 6 p.m. in New York. Came a monster record, and Doja Cat is
why you not okay?
Like, it's crazy. Like if you just go listen to her shit on your own time, shit she already got out that she's putting out for people to hear is amazing. But it's the shit she's not putting out. It's crazy, and I feel like Monster is one of those records that's built for arenas. It's made for you to enjoy that song with 20,000 other people with some lighters and cell phones and shit. It's real rock star shit. If anybody doubted I'm a rock star, Monster.
In the meantime, other relationships soured, causing his friendship with his longtime friend Larry June to fall apart following the guidance he provided.
Me and Larry have been best friends since 6th grade. Let's get that out of the way.
Oh, okay.
Right. Back when he was young June, I was trying to rap. Right. I used to have to pass out CDs at Shannon Mall. Larry was still trying to figure shit out. He flew me out to California. I had a meeting with Mike Will. I told him I had the meeting in like a couple days. He was like, "Well, fuck it, I'll bring you out beforehand." We went to the studio in the Bay, and he was like, "Bro, I need help. You know what I'm saying? What I'm trying to do, like, if this shit don't kick off, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit, I'm gonna say fuck it." So I got with him, and I was like, "Look, bro, first thing you need is a gimmick, right? You know, I had like the whoo, sheesh, all that shit, right? So I was like, "Hey, Larry, look, we gotta come up with something like that for you." So we came up with the yee, right? Got that shit. His rap style was different. So I'm like, "Look, bro, come on, we gonna switch the shit up." If you remember that same flow that Larry had, that was the flow I was already using. But what happened was the internet started saying that Larry June was stealing from me, and I had to keep defending him. So instead of doing that, I just switched my whole flow up and let him have that one. So that became Larry June's flow. If you go back and listen to all our songs together, we had the same flow, and then there's a spot where shit changed, and I stopped rapping like that, and Larry's the only one rapping like that.
Mako dropped 17 EPs between 2012 and 2016, yet none came close to matching You Guessed It. According to him, Quality Control fumbled his career in ways that severely damaged his stock.
You mad at QC still, or is that relationship a little, what happened?
I don't talk to them, but I'm explaining this in a way where it's understandable. From a business aspect, I understand
that
what
they tried to
did.
freeze your career at a certain point.
But let's look at it at the facts, right? What artists do you know that hit like I hit that never went on tour with a major artist? I mean, never, like not even one. What artists that I wasn't a controllable asset. I was an asset,
damn
but
it.
not a controllable asset. And I
There's
feel
so
like
many
if
of
you are
them.
trying to
Get up, bro.
the way that they end up manipulating, that you need a controllable asset. And I'm not gonna say who or what I feel became a controllable asset, but I think history shows itself to what it was. And if you look at what I was able to accomplish, I mean, QC had plenty of opportunities to say, look at what we're doing, look at the fashion, look at where this guy's coming from. But if you do that, if you give me that light, if you give me that shine, you can't take it back.
Left with his album withering on the shelf, he took matters into his own hands.
A lot of stuff.
I'm Googling it.
With QC.
Just, no. Where's my phone? I'm not playing this fucking game where I'm trying to like just randomly fucking find where I need to go.
And I think that's like one of the biggest things that really derailed a lot of shit, because when the album was supposed to drop originally, it was time for it. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody was ready for it. He was waiting on the album, and I had put together this gigantic body of work. Like, I had Doja Cat on the album before. Yeah, Doja Cat was also with us. Doja Cat was like one of the original like OGG members for OGG West. So like I had Doja on the album, and like Rex Kudo had done it. It was Monster, which I'm finna release that on iTunes and all that. I actually, you know what? Because of this interview, I'll release it in a couple weeks. An incredible body of work. And I
was
wanted,
going
the
in the
world
right
to be able
direction.
to see it, because a lot of people was expecting me to only, make these, you guessed it, type songs, or only make these EDM type songs. And I had actually put together a beautiful body
I was so
of work.
close.
When he dropped
God
The
damn it.
Children of the
Alright.
Rage on SoundCloud, he expected
right
vindication.
Oh, shit.
Instead, he felt the opportunity had been squandered, robbing the record of the response it deserved.
And we figured out we could just, go in and plug and play and shit like that. So a lot of shit had, more or less cooled off so far as the expectation for the album from anybody but my avid fans. And by then I was frustrated and just like dropped it on SoundCloud for my fans to get.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I ended up dropping it on SoundCloud for my fans to get, but even then I couldn't really do any promo or anything about it or anything like that. So, I feel like that was like one of the, I don't regret a lot of stuff, but that's like one of the big regrets that like I had put everything into that album, and it was truly beautiful. I don't say that lightly, like, some people say something is beautiful, but that album was beautiful. I remember even when we showed it to the president of Capitol at that time, like, he cried. You know what I'm saying? Like, he like took his glasses off, like the tear dropped down, because it was so much more than not only people expected from me, but it was just more than people expected from like a rapper.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was amazing. Everybody that heard it, loved it. It was happy to see where it was gonna go, and then it just never got to happen. So
What is the reasoning they give you?
Who knows? I don't know. It was definitely, it was ready.
He also felt that more successful QC artists had been inspired by him, reaping the rewards of a path he'd paved.
They was talking about it, but the other thing about Yachty is, especially with me, it's really interesting for me to look at that situation, because Yachty is everything I told Coach him I could be if we knew what we were doing. And I think that's what nobody realizes. I came in with the blonde hair and all the rage, and rap was so fucking stale and lame that nobody was doing no shit like that. So I called a backlash for it, and then now it's the culture. So Yachty literally he came out, did the exact same thing, and it's like, boom! It's amazing!
But his industry struggles were about to be the least of his problems, as his health began to deteriorate and his situation grew far worse. From 2016 onwards, Mako was clearly struggling. In interviews, he opened up about his battle with depression, made worse by feeling like everything he had given had gone unreciprocated.
OG Mako has deadly disease, Okay. And I immediately was like, yo, look, first off, there's nothing wrong with me. Two, I immediately tweeted after that, I was like, yo, look, I had a drug problem. I was on drugs, and I did. At that time, and that's why, shouts to Cuddy, and much love to him. During that time in my life, I was extremely depressed, and I was suicidal on top of it. Like, I'm gonna be very honest about it, because of all the things that was being taken away from me. I had done so much, I had innovated so much. I did it all by myself.
GG, well played,
without
mates.
anybody supporting me,
GG, well
without
played, mates.
anybody on top of my back.
GG, well played,
everybody was
mates.
just taking my accomplishment for me and just beating me down and just like making me feel like absolutely nothing, dog. I mean, it was a terrible time in my life, and I got real drug dependent. I just didn't want to
I didn't want to be around. I didn't want to have
Just
to
keep
deal
going.
with it.
Just keep
you know
going.
I just wanted to make my music, and even if you listen to my music, like 15 was like super dark.
Yeah, what?
You know, it was,
What?
Everything was getting dark and dark, and it was the hope was kind of
Hello,
going in my
friend.
music, you know, because I didn't have any hope in myself.
On top
Oh,
of
that
his mental
motherfucker
struggles,
scared me.
things got worse when he was involved in a near-fatal car crash.
Thank
All right,
you.
Well, basically, we got fucked up,
Okay.
you know, and when you get fucked up,
All
the
right.
person that's supposed to drive was not driving. He put a young, inexperienced guy driving, and he put him in a bad situation in the middle of the night with drunk people and loud noises and hella complaints, and somebody hit us, you know. It wasn't like a terrible fuck. I don't know why they made it like a death-defying. This at first it was like a fatal accident or some shit. I don't know who the fuck died. Nobody died, you know what I'm saying? But it was a bad little wreck, and I hit my face on the fucking hard part of the dashboard, and it crushed
I'm going the
this
right
part of my
way.
face, so it wasn't really my eye.
I don't.
The story
I'm
that
not
came out was
going
like
the
that
right
my eye was.
I don't care what that
destroyed.
thing is. I'm not
Wasn't
picking it
always
up. I
true.
just want to get
Here
to where I need to go.
and
Let's go, bro.
here
Let's go, bro.
were fucked. So
you
my
cracked your
eye-
skull, essentially.
Yeah, so my eye dropped.
Ugh.
You know what I'm saying?
Like it actually came out your
No,
head.
it didn't come out. It dropped down.
Oh, okay.
You really,
into
my face.
The fallout was extensive, leading him wearing an eye patch for an extended period as he tried to rebuild.
There was a car accident.
Yeah, everything happened. There's surgical scars and shit in my eye. You know, if you look at it, it's this all right there. But I mean,
Why?
What happened?
Is
was
that
I had
why
the eye patch
that
on,
eye is
and,
like
you know, everything was
so?
killing. I was really worried because my surgeon.
His other eye is white as
Yeah,
shit.
with
The other eye
all
is
the people
like,
I'm around, you know, I was still doing shows and still going to studios and shit. He was like, "Yo, you cannot do that. You know, if you get infected, like we have to pop that shit back out and do it again." I did not want that to happen.
After the crash, Mako went largely silent for years. Few knew the extent of what he was going through until March 2019, when he resurfaced on Instagram to reveal that he had been battling necrotizing fasciitis,
I don't know
a
what that
flesh-eating
is.
disease, and opened up about where he was
Oh
mentally.
shit!
I've been scared.
Oh shit!
I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if I was going to lose my entire face. I almost did. And everybody I really thought would be there.
Oh shit!
You know, who I really thought I could depend on just wasn't there.
Eventually, Mako returned to do interviews, elaborating on exactly what he was suffering from and how it looked day in and day out.
Oh, the next couple of days, I end up with like a cut on my eye. So I'm thinking like we was just like fucking or something, and my eye got cut. You know, nothing of it.
Okay.
And over the next couple of days, I have to go to Seattle, handle some business. So I get to Seattle.
Oh yeah, I need
and,
that one.
Everything's
Fucking
cool. And then like later at night, my fucking eye, it feels like, you know, like you get like a hair or something stuck in your eye, trying to wash it out. So I'm spending all night trying to wash this shit out and nothing's moving, right? So I'm like, what the fuck is that? They ignore it, you know, they ignore the fuck out of it, and they keep giving me this medication that I end up being allergic to.
Did you feel like they just didn't give a fuck?
They didn't give a fuck. They didn't give a fuck. I'd have a lawsuit against them, a really big lawsuit against them, but I'm not gonna talk about it.
What, just huge chunks of your scalp?
I reached into my head and I was like trying to scratch it, and I realized I couldn't feel it. I couldn't really feel the scratch. And so I stuck my nail into it and I pulled and my fucking scalp came up. At that point, I'm pretty sure something is eating me alive. I'm pretty sure. Because at the time before, they didn't know what was going on, and the eye infection already went down. You know what I'm saying? So I was pretty confused. And so if the eye's done, what else could this be? And we had already went through everything else. They'd already tested me for everything you can test in the world. And that's when I finally realized it. You know, like this shit came out. I started Googling everything you can Google, and that's when I realized that it was necrotizing fasciitis, which is flesh-eating bacteria.
At times, he lamented on how his career had gone, unveiling some of the conversations that he had with modern-day rage rappers who'd followed in his footsteps.
And I told him that. I told him that to his face, and I'm happy I was able to do that at LA Live. I was like, yo, bro, you know, that's really... And he asked me that. He asked me about that, too. He was like, bro, how do you get through it? Like, he's like, bro, knowing that. Cause he told me, like, bro, I know. That's what he's like, I know. He's like, but how do you do that shit, bro? How do you get through it? Like, how do you get through knowing like this was supposed to be yours? And he said it, he didn't even say it like real arrogant, you know, like he said it in a way like he just turned around, like, and you seen like, you know, this fucking massive packed out, sold out crowd, and he was like, this was supposed to be yours.
Wow.
Like, how do you deal with that, bro? Like, that shit would drive me crazy. And if you ever talked to X, you know, he was real about when he said shit.
But did you take offense to it?
Nah, fuck no. Like, I knew what he was saying.
Right.
I was like, well, I mean, as long as somebody like you happened, then it was all worth it.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I told him. That was my response to it. You know, like, as long as somebody like you happened, bro, it was all worth it. And I remember, I still got the video on my phone. He did that song, the Suicide Pact, fuck my life up. Right after that, he like ran up to the top, to the second level of the shit. It was like hanging off of the rails, like he was trying to jump off. He did that right after that. And it was like, in that moment, like, you know, I felt vindicated just from the fact of him existing. That's why I remember him dying was so crazy to me.
But in the end, none of that acclaim could shield him from loneliness, with the love from his fans being all that kept him going.
Me and my girl wasn't together for a lot of time, and when we're not together, I don't really give a fuck about that. You know, I don't care about that. Like, whatever you're doing is what you're doing. But my thing is, like, we've been best friends for years.
Oh, really?
Right? So it wasn't about pussy or nothing like that. It was just, you know, you're my best friend, right? You know, like, I moved from China to here for you, right? So at the end of the day, if something this major is going on, you should be there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And she wasn't there at first. Like, she was not there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like I said, my friend had to move up and abandon his whole life to take care of me. You know, and this is somebody who, like, you know, I took around the world and, you know, did everything you can imagine. If girls dream about the shit that I did for her, you know. So at the time, I was like, fuck you, bitch. I fuck with LA so heavy because fuck with LA because a lot of my fans and a lot of people would just like walk up and just like give me hugs and shit. Like, yo, bro, we see what you're going through. Like, you know, keep fighting. Like, keep going. Like you changed my life. Like you know what I'm saying? A lot of people talk shit about you, but, you know, without you, I wouldn't have made it through this. I wouldn't have made it through that. So I want you to know, like, you can make it through this. Like, you got us. Like, and I mean, it wasn't like 1 or 2 or 10 or even 100 people I'm talking about. It was a lot of people.
Over time, those feelings of loneliness only intensified, with Mako saying that his benevolent actions to people like Larry didn't stop him from being cast aside when he tried to get back in the game.
And I'm happy for him. I'm not saying I did everything for Larry. You can't do everything for one nigga, period. My only problem with Larry, and I just told Larry this himself, when this shit happened to my face, you know, I had this necrotizing fasciitis, I almost died, you know what I'm saying, all that shit happened. I had to take 2 years off just to heal, like last year. And the whole time in between this, I'm telling Larry, like, yo, bro, when I heal up, when I come back, like, bro, I need you like you needed me, right? Like, I don't need you to give me no handouts and shit, but you going on tour, you doing this. Like, nigga, I'll put my pride down. I'll come open up for you, bro. Like, I don't give no fuck. Like, nigga, let's do some tracks. Hop on this album for me before I drop it, whatever it is. And he kept doing yeah, bro, I got you. You know, it's fam, it's love, but it never materialized, right?
Recovery was never going to be simple, and things got worse when he was given medication that he was allergic to, eventually leading to an undisclosed lawsuit. Music took a backseat as a result, and where he once dropped projects almost monthly, his only post-recovery release was his 2023 self-titled album. The spark was still there, but the audience wasn't. Even the beef with Larry had faded, with his now more successful friend finally acknowledging what Mako had given him.
You know who really helped me really see the light on a bigger scale, and I know it's shit on the internet bullshit. Mako. OG Mako.
OG Mako.
Yeah, that's my dog. All right.
Oh.
Differences and shit, but like it was times where I was in the trap heavy. I'll fly him to just to get inspiration because he got the song "Bitch You Guessed It Is Going Up."
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, this shit inspiring. I'm like, seeing him do that was like, what? And I'm just.
How much is my
sword
deal?
You know what I'm saying? Even though I was doing it first, he used to help me pass out my CDs. You know what I mean? Before he was even on shit, I was trying to do my shit. It just didn't work, and I had a little one, and I got stuck into the,
don't do nothing.
the other shit I was on. And no matter what, I always thank him for the inspiration because the inspiration is very important when you're trying to come out that hole. And yeah, from there, you know, what shit before that, but that was just something that kickstarted me back to see the internet.
But sadly, this would all be a little too late, as the scars that he'd accumulated over the course of his life sent him into a place beyond darkness. On December 12th, 2024, police were called to Mako's California home after a neighbor heard a gunshot. Inside, they found him with a self-inflicted bullet wound to his head. He was rushed to surgery, and while his family quickly dismissed initial reports of his passing, saying that he was receiving the best possible care.
What? Wait. Did I just miss this in the hip-hop world? What?
Hope grasped initial
Wait, attempted suicide.
Inflicted bullet wound to his head. He was rushed to surgery, and while his family quickly dismissed initial reports of his passing, saying that he was receiving the best possible care, hope gradually faded over the following 2 weeks. On December 26th, the devastating news came through.
What the fuck? Dude, I want to fucking cry right now.
The industry was left speechless. One music executive spoke about how difficult it was to watch it unfold.
What year was this? When? How the fuck did I miss this?
OG Macko, passing 10 years almost exactly since we met. That's crazy, bro. Just thinking back to a 24-year-old Steve-O. Crazy times, bro. What you've done in your life, in your career, have been really nothing short of amazing, bro. You're a legend. Nobody can take away for what you did to this game and the city of Atlanta and in this life. You really cemented yourself as one of them ones, bro.
2 years on, hip-hop should be reflecting on how to prevent other promising artists from meeting the same fate. Many have since looked back at his openness about depression and felt like he was cast aside when he should have been embraced. Now recognized as a pioneer of the rage rap scene that dominates today, his contributions can't be overlooked. It's just sad that so much got in the way of him giving us even more. Rest up, man. Damn.
What the fuck?
On the evening of June 10th, 1994, 13-year-old Nicholas Barclay called home from a basketball court 2 miles from his house in...
I need like a fucking second after that. Jesus Christ, that was a fucking ball drop or whatever. The fuck? God damn it. Thought it was raining outside for a second.
San Antonio. He wanted a ride, and
What
his
happened?
older brother Jason answered. Jason told Nicholas that on the evening of June 10th, 1994, 13-year-old Nicholas Barclay called home from a basketball court 2 miles from his house in San Antonio. He wanted a ride, and his older brother Jason answered. Jason told Nicholas that their mom was asleep after getting home from working a graveyard shift and that Nicholas would have to walk back home by himself. And this was the last verifiable time anybody spoke to Nicholas. 3 days later, on June 13th, Nicholas' family reported him missing. Then 3.5 years go by with absolutely nothing. No sightings, no leads, no body, nothing at all. Then, in October of 1997, the phone rang in San Antonio.
97?
A children's shelter
That's
in
when I was
southern
born.
Spain had a teenage boy in their care. He had refused to give his name for days. He had visible scars, and when he finally spoke, he said he was American. He said he had been kidnapped, and he said that his name was Nicholas Barclay. What happened over the next 5 months is one of the strangest modern missing person cases in history. It is genuinely mind-boggling and unbelievable that this is a real thing. Before we get to that shelter in Spain, we need to talk about our sponsor for today's video. Just kidding. There are 2 boys that you need to understand to get the scope of this story. The first is obviously Nicholas Barclay. Nicholas was a troubled child. Rumors of him physically abusing his mother Beverly were fluctuating around the time of his disappearance. He had previously threatened a teacher, broken into a convenience store, and even stolen a pair of sneakers.
How old was he?
Multiple substance abuse issues in his own household as well, and his mother Beverly was addicted to heroin and abused alcohol. His brother Jason was also addicted to cocaine during this time. Beverly, Nicholas' mom, was a single mother by 1994. Her husband had left years before. 1994, she was working graveyard shifts to keep rent paid and sleeping during the day when Nicholas was at school and using heroin in the gaps between. Jason, Nicholas' older brother, was 25 years old. He was 6'2", 200 and some pounds, and deep into the white stuff. Cocaine. The police had been to the house more than once to break up fights between him and his own mother. Carrie, the only one of the Dollarhide kids with a life that had a shape to it, had moved out at 18 years old and married a fellow by the name of Brian Gibson and was raising her own son, Cody, across town. By the way, Dollarhide, Barclay, different fathers, same family. Beverly's the mom, Nicholas is the son, Jason is the son, Carrie is the daughter. When this happened back in 1994, that left Nicholas at age 13 in a house where the adults were not really paying attention to a kid who desperately needed it. Back on June 10th, 1994, Nicholas was playing basketball with some friends 2 miles from his home. He called home asking if it was possible to get a ride back, and Jason would answer and tell him their mom was asleep and he would have to just walk back. Nicholas did not return on that night. The family reported him missing on June 13th, 1994, and the 3-day delay might seem strange for most normal people, but it was not abnormal for Nicholas to disappear for 1 or 2 days at a time at this point in his life. This may or may not have influenced why his mother didn't report him after 3 full days, because he was just gone longer than he was normally gone. That, and he also had a hearing about his prior offenses the next morning. So he had court the day that he didn't come home. So there's a few excuses to justify an absence. On September 25th, 1994, 3 months later, Jason did claim to see Nicholas trying to break into their garage. The police responded to find no trace at all of Nicholas. Some investigators, and by that I mean speculators on the internet, believe that this could have been a drug-induced hallucination of Jason's, but there is no evidence that Jason took any drugs that would have possibly resulted in such a bizarre hallucination. Then over 3 years goes by. Clothes are still in the closet, the walls are still posted with Nicholas's postings, the bed still made the way a 13-year-old makes a bed, untouched. Nicholas just magically shows up, or rather, another boy who just claims to be Nicholas shows up. First, we need to explain who that other boy is. Half a world away from San Antonio in a small village in central France, there was a teenager already deep into a career that would, in a few years, lead him directly to the Barclay family, pretending to be their son, Nicholas, who had gone missing 3 years prior. This second boy's name was Frederick Bourdin. Bourdin, the imposter, was born to a French mother and an Algerian father, and he faced racism from his own family. He was unwanted by his family, and that troubled him deeply. By Bourdin's own account, once his family knew of his father's ethnicity, they ordered his mother to have an abortion and resented her for never getting one. His mom was only 18 years old when he was born, and his father, a married Algerian immigrant named Kassi, 25 years old at the time, disappeared before Bourdin was old enough to even know him. Bourdin, at 2.5 years old, was placed with his grandparents, and they moved with him to a small village called Mouchan, southeast. It was a conservative and rural village. The kind of village where a mixed-race kid with no father and secondhand clothes really stood out. He drifted through foster homes and institutions through most of his childhood, and he has said in interviews that he started walking in shelters and claiming to be other children at age 12. By the time Bourdin was 18, he had already adopted a dozen clothes, really stood out. He drifted through foster homes and institutions through most of his childhood, and he has said in interviews that he started walking into shelters and claiming to be other children at age 12. By the time Bourdin was 18, he had already adopted a dozen fake identities. And in November of 1993, that was his first time impersonating a child when he was legally an adult. He once even faked his own death in an attempt to be cruel to his family, who had been so cruel to him in the past. In the mid-90s, Bourdin was even invited on a French TV show called Everything is Possible, where he talked about his intentions and why he did what he did. He made the claim that all he wanted was love and a family, and during this time, a fan would make a website dedicated to his ability to take on new identities, aka impersonate people as a literal imposter. That is a crazy ability to have, to brag about and have fans of. When Bourdin tells these stories, they seem rehearsed. They feel rehearsed as they're being told, as though they're trying to get a reaction out of those that he is talking to. It's a show. It's a performance.
You are a chameleon.
Of course, I've been a chameleon all my life. I mean, someone who never have the same skin, who change colors, and I'm capable of doing it. It's very hard to explain. It's just that I guess you are who you want to be.
Because of how he has lived his life, it is believed that the story you get from Bourdain is now only a half-truth, and the real truth is somewhere in those details he shares. He's obviously not all there, guys. Like, regardless of a tragic life, Bourdain is not a reasonable, rational, reliable source of information. Very important to note, okay?
For years you created these identities and personas. At some point you decided you were going to steal one.
It wasn't a decision. I was forced to do it. It was either that or go to prison.
He's used his tragic life to ultimately justify his behavior and his compulsion to lie and impersonate. The reason for all of it is that it is ultimately the search for love and caring that he never received in his childhood. And if he had not assumed the identity of Nicholas Barclay, he implies he would not be alive today in interviews. By the fall of 1997, Bourdain is 23 years old, fluent in 5 languages, wanted by Interpol for impersonating real and imaginary missing children across at least a dozen European countries, and running out of places to be Frederick Bourdain. What a grift. That is crazy. Look at the back of a milk carton. I think I'll be him to get some love and attention today. So, things are about to get very strange. October 7th, 1997, Linares, Spain. The Spanish police receive a phone call about a frightened boy in a phone booth. Strangely enough, the phone call came from a man that was also the frightened boy in the phone booth that was pretending to be Nicholas Barclay.
When the police arrived, I have immediately to put into their mind that they have a kid in front of them, not an adult. So it was very important for me to be
shoot, please. Thank
what
you.
a con. More than once in Bourdain's career of stealing children's identities, he would call the police from a phone booth and claim that there was a young boy around 14 there. He would then try and find a missing boy of the nationality he said he could pass as. The first time he did this, he was 16 and claimed to be a missing British 14-year-old. This was his MO. Have the police scoop him up and assume the identity of someone else before anyone could notice they had him in custody. Spanish police in Linares took him to a shelter. He refused to give his name for days. Local social workers got nowhere. But eventually, a Spanish judge gave the shelter a 24-hour ultimatum. It was this ultimatum that triggered Bourdain's next move.
So the only thing left there was 1, go to prison, 2, prove to them that I'm someone.
He's left alone for 8 hours that night to contact his family. Except he does not contact his family. The call he makes is to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in Alexandria, Virginia. And he does not introduce himself as a runaway boy looking for his parents. He introduces himself as the shelter's director, a man named Jonathan Durian, who has a frightened kid in his care who won't give his name, who matches the description of. And then Bourdain describes himself.
I described myself. Every details I gave was details that I know that I could handle.
The NCMEC operator runs it against the database and tells him that this sounds like Nicholas Barclay, missing from San Antonio since 1994. Then he faxes over the file. Bourdain would then begin the task of attempting to look as much like Nicholas as possible, taking a razor to himself to have matching scars he knew that Nicholas had, getting matching tattoos, and dyeing his hair blonde. All information that he garnered from social engineering. That's how it's really wild, but it gets even stranger. You gotta think, your missing son comes home, the gig's up. That's not my son. Looks nothing like my son. So then he calls the Barclay family. Regardless of the differences in appearance, age, nationality, and language, when Nicholas's sister Carrie met Bourdain, she confirmed that it was her brother Nicholas. Carrie gets on a plane, flies to Madrid, and when she lands, she meets Bourdain for the first time at the U.S. consulate, sitting across a small table in a windowless interview room. Bourdain's hair is dyed, he's carved scars into his own skin to match the ones that Nicholas had, and totally prepared the cover story. Carrie, upon immediately meeting Nicholas, confirmed that it was him.
Just seeing, touching, kissing, holding him.
The hell, you know?
Now, we gotta remind everyone, Bourdain has brown eyes. Nicholas Barclay had blue eyes. He was also...
I forget how to get to the Hydra, I think it is. The multi-headed bitch. Fuck. Oh, my brain is so fucking just... Wait, is... Fuck it, I'm just gonna look real quick. Why not?
Also missing a distinctive cross tattoo on his hand that was unknown to Bourdain at the time. He was also 6.5 years older than Nicholas and had a French accent. To be fair, he did wear items purposefully to obscure himself from Carrie and to obfuscate his true identity as much as he possibly could. Because he was an imposter, dude! To explain away how Nicholas looked so different, Bourdain claimed he escaped from a child sex ring run by US military officials. No way that could be true, right? It's definitely a thing. I don't know about the US government, but we've got some, that's a real issue. So lying about it's kind of evil, but that is a real thing. A la Epstein. Plenty of evidence. There we go. It was in this sex ring, Bourdain said, that the government officials injected dye into his eyes to make them a different color, forced him to speak only French so he'd forget his English, and the trauma had aged him, and he finally escaped in Spain. That, I shall remind you, is the story that the United States consulate accepted. The State Department officer who issued Bourdain a passport, the document is real, his name is on it as Nicholas Patrick Barclay.
Maybe,
that officer heard this story, looked at Carrie across the table, looked at Bourdain across the table, and went, Koosh, stamped the passport, like that game. What was that game that I used to play with the passports? It's like a Russian, what's that game called? I can see it in my mind perfectly, but I can't.
Oh, I know what he's talking about, but I forget what it's called.
I'm engagement farming right now. Also, the Spanish judge who had earlier given the
I only hit him once.
ultimatum heard a version of this as well. So did INS. So did everyone in the chain that followed. And after spending 3 hours with Bourdain and hearing his story, Carrie confirmed that this was in fact her brother. She officially swore under oath that this was her brother. And the U.S. consulate issued Bourdain a passport for Nicholas and let him go.
I remember that stuff
Up to
doing
this
so
point,
much more
the Spanish
damage.
judge, the U.S. consulate, and the passport office have not, in fact, realized that this is not Nicholas Barclay. How? I don't know. I really don't understand. I really don't get it. It's like an adult man. And on the trip back to San Antonio, Carrie is showing Nicholas pictures of their family as a way to jog his memory, I suppose. Try and remember what it was like before he went missing. It was very likely that Carrie didn't realize she was providing Bourdain information to better help him fit in with his new family, basically feeding the imposter exactly what the imposter needs to be an imposter.
Are you wearing red because you're the imposter?
Yes. When they arrived in San Antonio, the majority of the family was there to greet him with one glaring omission. Jason, Nicholas' older brother, had not come. Beverly, his mom, came home from the airport with him in tow and put him back in the bedroom she had kept untouched for 3.5 years. Same posters, same clothes in the closet, same bed that Nicholas left. Years later, Beverly would say it directly. At that point, her main goal in life was not to think. She walked him into the room he had vanished from, and she did it knowing at some level, she would later admit, that the math didn't exactly add up. Because they do, by the way, find out that this is not their son. Blue eyes don't become brown. Texas accents don't become French, unfortunately, fellas and fellettes. But all that being said,
I'm wasting all my ammo on these
and
losers.
She had a son who had been delivered to her by the United States consulate from Madrid.
Stupid ass, bitch ass game.
She chose the version of events to believe that she could survive. Bourdain did not return to live at home with his mom, Beverly, and his brother, Jason Dollarhide, but instead went with Carrie. Carrie, who at 31 had a husband, a 6-year-old son named Cody, and a life that had a shape to it before all of this. Brian Gibson, Carrie's husband, worked steady hours. Cody was at the age where he didn't ask questions about why Uncle Nicholas had a French accent. The Gibson house was, for those 5 months, the only Barclay Dollarhide Gibson household that resembled a functional one. Bourdain learned the family at the speed someone learns a new language when they have to speak in public the next day. He memorized names, he memorized faces, he nodded when relatives said things that he had no reason at all to nod at, because he's not actually part of the family. He developed a careful repertoire of I don't remember responses to questions Nicholas should have absolutely known the answer to. And the family, every time, attributed the not remembering to the trauma of the kidnapping he had supposedly survived, which is a really evil lie. I'm just gonna go out there and say that that's a f***ed up thing to lie about. I think I've implied that multiple times already, but I really want to make it clear that it's abhorrent. All right, it's insane. This was the choice the entire family was making again and again in smaller and smaller increments. Each unrecognized face got attributed to trauma. Same with each missing detail, each foreign mannerism, every French slip up. The story didn't really have to be true. It just had to keep being told in a sense. And it started from an official source.
Not
you
the
know,
way
the
I
US
thought
consulate gave this man a
I was thinking
passport.
of.
This is Nicholas Barclay. Within 2 months, Bourdain was no longer
Wait.
feeling comfortable in this film. By
Havel,
mid-December,
I
Bourdain had been
think.
Nicholas for about
Fuck.
6 weeks,
God
and the
damn it.
strain of running the impersonation full-time in a family that was slowly starting to realize that he was impersonating the member of the family that had been missing for 3.5 years. He took Carrie's car, he drove away to Oklahoma, the promised land, I like to call it. The story he tells here varies over its various retellings. He was looking for somewhere to disappear, and he was testing whether anyone would chase him. He was just scared overall. The car was eventually recovered, and Bourdain came back to San Antonio days before Christmas.
God,
walked
Fanta's
out into
so
the bathroom
fucking good.
and mutilated his own face.
So I took a razor blade and I slit my face.
Perhaps in an attempt to look more like Nicholas and less like Bourdain, and he was placed on a mental health hold.
I showed them that I was under a great deal of pressure.
And when he was released, his family obviously welcomed him back. It's a broken young man. Horrible things have happened to him. Nobody asked at this point the many obvious questions that are worth asking. How are all these things happening? Why does someone who survives this crazy kidnapping thing then run away again and cut their face up before Christmas? They just kept telling themselves the story that it was just trauma and it's unexplainable. It was during this time Bourdain was also going to high school to reintegrate with part of his past normal life.
It really became for me the American dream when I took that big yellow bus to go to school with others.
I just don't understand how that's even a thing that even could happen. I mean, this whole thing is crazy. It is insane. This is a crazy story that makes no sense at all. He still had a limited grasp of English. His behavior was bizarre and abnormal. He racked up a phone bill of nearly $2,000 calling France, never elaborating on who he was speaking to. The high school is its own level of institutional failure. Bourdain enrolled mid-year. Teachers were handed a transfer student who looked nothing like the yearbook photo from when Nicholas had attended a few years earlier. They had that photo on file. Nobody asked. The kid in their hallway did not speak English well. He spoke French. He had visible scars. He was older than he should have been by 6.5 years. As you could probably imagine, though, some of Nicholas' old friends did notice. Word got around among classmates, but the school administration, counselors, the assistant principal who handled the transfer paperwork, none of them acted on it. 5 months in Carrie's house, 5 months in a San Antonio high school, 5 months that the FBI, INS, Texas CPS, the school, and the State Department all failed to notice. And it is a fact that the return of Nicholas Barclay attracted a great deal of attention in the media. Due to this attention, Nicholas was asked to be interviewed for the TV show Hard Copy. The man doing the interview was Charlie Parker, a private investigator.
They set him up, put a microphone on him and had the cameras on him, and I moved over behind a booth, and it was almost fate.
Parker seemed to be the first person to look at Bourdain and then pictures of Nicholas and openly doubt that they were the same person, purely based on the shape of their ears.
I thought I had a spy. I thought I had a real, honest-to-God spy.
Parker then realized Nicholas didn't recognize family members in pictures he brought along with him. The voice was wrong, he didn't speak English, and this resulted in a detailed investigation led by Parker into the man that was impersonating the child, Nicholas, the missing child.
Number 2, okay. Number 3, okay. And number 4, okay. On the 5th one, I made a mistake.
Parker would go on to examine Nicholas' old room and found it had been untouched since he returned home, and what he found in the closet was 2 pairs of jeans and 2 shirts. That was the moment Parker would later say when he became convinced that Nicholas Barclay had been dead before he was ever reported missing. Parker consulted an ophthalmologist who confirmed that you can't just change somebody's eye color chemically, especially in the 90s. That's right, those purple eye people, they're not real, goofballs. He then talked to a dialect expert at Trinity University who informed him that even if Nicholas had picked up a French accent, his Texas accent would have returned at some point because he lived 13 years with one. Parker's other working theory was that the FBI didn't want him in this. Nancy Fisher, the FBI agent assigned to the Barclay case, had inherited 5 months of bureaucratic momentum that said Nicholas Barclay was home and the case was closed. Oh, imagine having to actually do your job. Bourdain had a passport, a social security card, a high school transcript. The State Department had stamped him as an American. INS had cleared the stamp. Fisher would later say on camera that something about Bourdain had felt wrong from the first interview.
Who the fuck are you?
Paperwork
What?
said otherwise. So for those 5 months, Fisher and Parker were working on the same cases from opposite sides. Parker outside the FBI trying to break it open, and Fisher from inside the FBI trying to figure out how to do the same thing without ruining her own life, because you can't bite the hand that feeds, obviously. Parker arranged to meet Nicholas at a basketball court near the Dollarhide house, brought family photos, showed up alone. Bourdain sat down, Parker handed him the first photo. Bourdain did not recognize the face. He didn't recognize the next 2 photos either. The voice,
I wasted my
completely
fucking...
wrong.
Okay,
Ears,
yeah.
completely
Good job.
wrong. Eyes, we already know they're completely wrong.
That's fine. I
When
want to
Bourdain
level
spoke,
up, and then I'm
he
just
was
gonna...
French. He was a French
or yeah, I'm
adult
gonna
French
grind
man.
a little
Parker
bit,
would
then
later
level
say,
up, and
I
then
know
I'm
one
gonna
thing.
go
You're
beat
not
the
Nicholas
whatevers.
Barclay, and I'm gonna stay with you until I figure out who you are. Parker informed the FBI of his conclusion, and Parker would later say that the FBI threatened him with obstruction of justice. But at this point, multiple systems had confirmed, officially, on record, federally, bureaucratically, that Bourdain was Nicholas Finkel's Einhorn. All right, guys, what the? Parker was just digging shit up and making an issue where the government had decided there was none. They were also taking the sex slave ring story seriously and wanted to call Nicholas in for questioning. Sorry, Nicholas. The FBI then conducted a brief interview with Bourdain posing as Nicholas to gauge the authenticity of his claims, the sex trafficking claims.
I was pulling teeth trying to determine who would kidnap Nicholas, when and where, and under what circumstances. I had almost no information.
Because we have to gauge the authenticity of those claims. Not the claims that this is even the right kid, it's just the claims of the sex trafficking ring. It'd be insane if there was one of those being run by the government. Fisher, the FBI rep, would later say the interview itself was what convinced her. Bourdain described the sex ring at length, but couldn't produce a single verifiable specific. Not a name, not a base, not
Only 200?
anything
Come
that
on,
someone
bro.
could
Come on,
actually verify and check. It was starting to seem like this guy was full of shit. The story was way too specific, but just empty in detail. Fisher took notes and did not contradict him in the room. When the interview ended, she walked out and started the paperwork for a court order. Fisher came away from the questioning convinced that Bourdain was not Nicholas and asked Beverly for a DNA test as well as placing a court order for fingerprints.
Why did they just do that to begin with?
All existing legal records had concluded at this point that Bourdain was Nicholas Finkel's Einhorn, and thus he was legally a child, even though he's a middle-aged man. Not really. Mid-20s is not middle-aged. If that's middle-aged, but I am old. I'm almost 30 years old. Isn't that crazy? Press like. The only way to get Nicholas' DNA would be through parental permission because he's a minor. Remember, he's a minor. He's not a liar. He's not an imposter. He's just a little kid running around. Eventually, Fisher would return with a warrant for both blood and prints. Shortly after this, Beverly would call the police and Parker to share that she no longer believed Bourdain was Nicholas. The final straw was when she drove him to his old middle school and he did not seem to recognize it. What about all the other shit? Anyways, Parker would come and help calm Bourdain down after his ruse was finally uncovered. He would take Bourdain out to breakfast, and over pancakes, Bourdain would tell him, "My name is Frederick Bourdain, and I'm wanted by Interpol."
And I said, "Who are you?" He said, "I'm Frederick Bourdain, and I'm wanted by Interpol."
What? You what are you talking about? Go to sour.gg. Zulk jump scare. I have a candy company. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but I'm sorry. We release 4 new flavors every single month. We actually have some jalapeno gummies, some spicy mango gummies. They're really good. Also join the Gump Club if you want to see uncensored videos with clips like this that I record and then have my editor Tara edit out because they make me look bad.
Oh, stop it.
Forgot that I was recording. We're building a community out there on the Gump Club. All right, guys. We got other videos. Too Late Show. It's a show that I do with my wife. All kinds of funny moments and shit. Support the channel. Support these things. Gump.club. Sour.gg. Also, making a video game. It is the spiritual successor to Fallout New Vegas. Yes, I just said that with a straight face. Will it ever be released? Maybe not. Will the other one that I was working on ever be released? Probably in a month or 2. All right, maybe 3 months. I'm not exactly sure. I've got too many jobs. Anyways, my name is Frederick Bourdain, and I am wanted by Interpol. He said it probably like that. Parker would say later that what he remembered most was the matter-of-factness of it. Bourdain said the line the way someone admits that they've been bluffing in a card game, like the game's over. There's no more point in pretending. You got me. I am not a little boy from America. Now, it's important to note that Bourdain has claimed that these events never occurred, claiming that Parker is a man who loves attention and the real liar. Parker's the real liar, not the serial imposter. Parker would excuse himself to the bathroom and phone the FBI, who instructed him to keep Bourdain there for as long as possible. Beverly would aid in bringing in Bourdain, and after the FBI took the fingerprints, they would pass along to the State Department and lastly, Interpol. Ultimately, the entire series of events resulted in the same outcome.
Series of events.
Interpol finally had Frederic Pierre Bourdain.
This is the tale of a master imposter who managed to lie his way into the United States and prey upon the most vulnerable of people.
It doesn't end there.
Did he pray?
After the arrest and during the trial, Bourdain would allege that Beverly and Jason, Nicholas' mom and brother, were originally involved in Nicholas' disappearance, and that Jason had a history of cocaine use and violent behavior. He was the last person to speak to Nicholas, and he was also the last person to see Nicholas alive. If he did, in fact, of course, see Nicholas that night trying to break into the garage.
Heal, please.
1994, but that was obviously well after he went missing originally, and it could have been an hallucinations. Eventually, Jason would die, and shortly after Jason's death, Jack Stick, a federal prosecutor in the state of Texas, opened up Nicholas' disappearance as a homicide. Beverly would go on to take a series of polygraph tests. She passed the first two, but failed the third in a dramatic fashion, having taken it by her own later admission on heroin, methadone, and alcohol. On the third test, the machine indicated deception. Beverly's response then and later was that she'd taken it while still using, and that the machine couldn't tell the difference between guilt and being too high to give a clean reading, which I don't think you're supposed to take polygraph tests while high,
shit!
And I don't
One
think
hit. Let's
that
go.
They're admissible in court. For example, the FBI filed the results.
Get up,
Polygraphs
please, baby.
aren't
Get up.
admissible in court, and these alone weren't enough to charge anyone with anything. After Nicholas' disappearance, the police were called to break up fights between Jason and Beverly multiple times. Fisher and Parker each took these claims fairly seriously, questioning Jason about the case and finding him uncooperative. And Parker has said publicly that during his questioning, he told Jason that he believed that he, Jason, had killed Nicholas by accident. Shortly after this, Jason would die from a cocaine overdose, leaving just Beverly to deal with these claims. By the way, it's pretty difficult to overdose on cocaine. Parker would also ask Beverly if she thinks Jason took his own life using the drugs, as he had been clean for up to a year at that point, and her response was, I don't know. Carrie, the most stable of all the family members, defended her mother and brother. She does not believe that Bourdain's story has an ounce
It's not gonna
credibility, as he is kind of an untrustworthy guy. It would be ridiculous to go and find someone to pretend to be Nicholas 4 years later to cover up the fact that they had killed him if they did, when no one had even thought that they did. Just seemed like they sort of wanted their son and brother and family member back, is what it seems like to me. Bourdain is not an honest, trustworthy guy. He is what specialists have inferred a compulsive liar and a maniac. I mean, he's the imposter. The trial went into September of 1998, and Bourdain pleaded guilty to passport fraud and perjury. He was sentenced to 6 years, which is 3 times the recommended sentencing guidelines, which is good. Contrary to his television appearance 5 years earlier, this time his claim that he just wanted love was met with outrage. The judge compared what Bourdain did to a murder, to making it appear as though Nicholas was missing all over again. This judge's argument was that Bourdain had effectively erased Nicholas Barclay a second time, which I would argue that is factual. That
Where am I?
is my read on this entire situation.
Oh, that scared the shit
family had
out
spent
of me.
3.5 years not knowing and grieving a loss of a brother and son. Then for 5 months, they had been allowed to believe their son was home because of a serial imposter freak, Frenchman. And then on the day that Bourdain's fingerprints came back, they had to go through the loss a second time. The judge framed Bourdain's deception as a deliberate act of cruelty that had taken something from the Barclay family that they would never recover. Per Grand's reporting on the sentencing, what Bourdain got was more than 3 times what the federal guidelines recommended for passport fraud and perjury. Parker is still trying to find any trace of Nicholas.
What does Dust
So far,
Crown
there have been no leads. In the film, The Imposter,
Why do
released
I
in
not?
2012,
Oh yeah,
draws
because
heavily from David Grant's 2008
magic
New
casting,
Yorker
but,
article on the case, the one that pushed the Jason killed Nicholas theory into the documentary's frame. Parker does not believe that Nicholas did die before he disappeared, but he doesn't know if the Dollarhides had anything to do with it. After all, Bourdain still insists that the family was involved. And in a 2012 interview, Bourdain said, if the FBI kept them for 2 or 3 days inside a closed cell and put some pressure on them, they would find Nicholas. I'm convinced of that. I know that.
I only got
didn't need to be
5,000.
Colombo to put all the pieces together. They killed him. Some of them did it, some of them knew of it, and some of them choose to ignore it.
It seems defamatory, if you ask me. When Bart Layton was filming The Imposter, the production hired Parker to dig the backyard of the old Dollarhide house looking for a body. There's footage in the film of Parker in his 70s by then, standing in a hole. The dig produced nothing. Whatever happened to Nicholas Barclay in June of 1994 is more than 30 years later still unanswered. The case is technically open, and the Charlie Project still lists Nicholas as missing. Bourdain was released from U.S. prison in 2003 and deported back to the France area of the world. The cycle started up again almost immediately. In 2004, he turned up in Grenoble and took the name Léo Bailey, a 6.5-year-old French boy who had vanished in 1996 during a camping trip at Lac Fourcheux in the Isère, which is a region south of Grenoble. Léo had walked off with his father's group towards a waterfall a kilometer from the camp and never came back. He was never found, and the Bailey family had spent 7 years not knowing. They were briefly pulled into believing their missing 6-year-old had come home until DNA testing established that the person claiming to be Léo was Frederic Bourdain. This was the second family that he did it to in a very short period of time. A French court sentenced him to 24 months in prison, 4 of which he served. Then came Ruben Sanchez Espinoza in 2004, who got him deported. Then Francisco Hernandez Fernandez in 2005. And then on May 3rd, 2005, a Frenchman, Bourdain again, called a Spanish hotline and reported a missing teenager around 15 years old. It just continues. For a while, it worked, too. By 2005, Bourdain had gotten better at blending in with teenagers, and no one was the wiser. He's like a 45-year-old man at this point. It wasn't until June 8th of that year that a TV show aired a segment that finally exposed him. And after his release, he met a young French woman studying to be a lawyer named Isabelle, and they married on August 8th, 2007, and have 5 children.
Who the fuck would want to marry
In March of 2017, Bourdain would claim on Facebook that
Stop
Isabelle
touching
left
me.
him for another man, and that she had been unhappy for the
Nice.
entirety of their relationship. Bourdain had also claimed in 2012 that he would never impersonate someone again. And where he is exactly at this time, right now of recording this, it is unknown and unanswered. He could be in Serbia pretending to be a Serbian child.
Where am I going?
So, Serbian viewers.
Oh wait, no, I know where to go.
Out.
Wait,
The
do
imposters
I?
out
Wait,
there.
no, I'm
we
fucking
do know
up.
there is a
God damn it.
2023 French custody order out of Ille-Vilaine forbidding Bourdain from contacting his own children. So he's not allowed to talk to his children, no family contact permitted. But he still posts about his kids on his TikTok anyway. So if you stumbled onto the account cold without context, you'd see a strange divorced Frenchman who misses his kids. You wouldn't see the man who has spent his life walking into shelters and claiming to be other people's missing children and is now no longer allowed to see his kids. What a crazy liar. Everybody lies, to be fair. There's lies of omission, lies to keep people happy, white lies. We've all lied, but there are few of us in society who tell the vast majority of lies. Their lies function as truth others accept, and without challenging those lies, the truth can hurt the people who know. You got to think about Carrie Gibson, the Barclay family, and how they just wanted their brother and son back in their life, and then they got him back for months. But the brother that Carrie got back was not Nicholas, and he lied for a while. And then he went to prison, and then Nicholas was still missing. It's horrible. Anyways, that's the story of The Imposter. Hopefully you guys enjoyed and are freaked out because it's really freaky. If you did enjoy, press the like button down below. I'll see you in the next video.
Nearly 2 billion people drink alcohol regularly, and hundreds of millions use cannabis products. And these two substances are often compared to each other as if they're doing the same thing inside your body. People will sometimes debate which one is better and which one is worse. But the reality is, although they share a few similarities, alcohol and THC
I fucking
affect your
dodged.
physiology
Fuck this
in very
stupid
different
bitch
ways.
game.
So today, with the help of the bodies in the lab, we're going to compare alcohol and THC head to head. We'll break down how each one gets absorbed, what they do to your brain and other organs, why one can cause blackouts while the other gives the munchies. And yes, we'll also get into the negative effects of each, including addiction and even cancer risk. It's going to be a mind-altering one. So let's jump into this anatomical and physiological awesomeness.
What time is it?
Alcohol, also known as ethanol, is a small molecule that can move
I might
easily
be
through both the
done.
watery environments of your body
I'm done
and
for the
across
night.
cell
Fuck
membranes,
it.
which allows it to spread quickly.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely done. All right.